What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. And of course, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that sub button and hit that notification bell so you can become part of the Legion and enjoy all of this wholesome freaking content. Now, with this video, we're going to be jumping into Infinite Frontier Suicide Squad issue number 1. Now, this will be the last issue of the new comics we cover this week. We do have a bunch of backlog stuff that we are going to be covering, some Marvel stuff, including some DC stuff like Strange Adventures and so on and so forth. But this is the last of the Infinite Frontier that they've released for this week. And if you haven't been keeping up with Infinite Frontier, everything going on with it, with Future State, with Dark Knight's Death Metal, don't worry. I have all of this stuff for you guys. Check out the playlist in my description and at the top of this video. Be sure to click that link and it'll get you completely caught up on every single issue that has come out. And with that being said, let's dive into this issue. Alright, so this one picks us up with going through a few of the different iterations of Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. You know, this team has always been a simple mission statement. A team of incarcerated supervillains sent out on Black Ops missions in exchange for reduced prison sentences. Bombs in their necks to make sure everything goes to play. That is what the Suicide Squad is, and always has been. But Flag is telling Waller that this new plan is madness. Even for her. Because this is Task Force Z, a rival Justice League. And it has to do with multiversal kidnapping, which is a lot of what we saw in Suicide Squad Future State. We kind of saw the ending to all of this playing out, but this is us seeing how it was all introduced. And Amanda Waller really, she just says she's tired. She's tired of building squads only to watch them fall apart. Tired of training them only to have them die before they reach their full potential. But most of all, she's tired of losing. And Flag tells her that's what this team was built on. Built on losers. What did you expect? Winning was never the mission. The mission was to end things when they got out of control. And Flag tells her, like, I'm not gonna let you do this. And she turns and says, let me? Like, what are you talking about? It's already in play. This has already begun. And this is when we pick up at Arkham Asylum. And we have guards patrolling through the perimeter only to be taken out by the one and only Peacemaker. And he's accompanied by Bolt, Film Freak, and Shriek. And this is where we pick back up with Amanda Waller. And this is where she's getting news from Peacemaker that the package has been compromised. And Flag realizes that this is Peacemaker and says, you know, I know you love orders almost as much as you love the chain of command. Well, this is Colonel Flag, and I'm ordering you to stand down. But as soon as those words come out of his mouth, he is electrocuted by Waller. And Peacemaker didn't make out what he had said. And she just tells him that the package is not compromised. He just doesn't know who he is. Get him out of there before he remembers. And this is when the panel cuts over to the one and only Talon. William Cobb, or at least what's left of him. And this is when Bolt goes in and puts his hand on his shoulder and said, you know, we're gonna get you out of here. And Talon comes up and slices him right in the neck with some prison shanks that he made out of toothbrushes. And then we see Flag chained up by Amanda Waller, and he's just like, you're insane. And she says no. For the first time ever, I'm actually seeing clearly. And then we see Talon, Peacemaker, and everybody else going at it. And really, Talon is just tearing these guys up. It is really not a match. We're seeing toothbrushes just get jammed into everybody. But this is when we see a gas headed their way. And it's Joker gas. And we saw this in Infinite Frontier. And Batman was on his way here. And Mahoney had ended up becoming an amputee, saving people getting out of here. And as all of this is going on, Film Freak gets thrown into the gas. And now it's really just a mad dash to try to get out of Arkham alive. Or without being taken over by the Joker gas. And then we see Amanda Waller leaving Flag's little cell and telling him that, like everyone else on Task Force X, is that he is replaceable. And he has someone else who can lead the team. And that's when she goes into another cell and sees the one and only Superboy, Connor Kent, chained up in Kryptonite shackles. And then we cut over to Peacemaker, and he's really giving it to Talon the best he can, and we see Shriek left behind into the gas, and the door closing behind them. Peacemaker telling Talon, welcome to the Suicide Squad. Alright, Legionnaires, so as we get into issue number 2, we are brought to Arkham Asylum. And right now, the situation is, in Peacekeeper words, Fubar, which is effed up beyond all recognition. Now, Christopher Smith, aka Peacekeeper, he came to DC in pursuit of one thing, and that was peace. And when he couldn't find it, he began a new life. He picked up the name Peacekeeper and vowed to do whatever it takes at whatever cost to bring peace. But right now, that is the last thing he is getting, because they are in the middle of an all-out prison riot. Arkham Asylum is in pure chaos right now. And right now, he's kind of regretting being the leader. He's kind of regretting Amanda Waller making some chumped up charges and getting him to be the leader of the Suicide Squad. And the only reason they're even in Arkham Asylum right now is to get Talon out. But the issue is, they're trapped inside. They're trapped inside with the inmates and the guards, and everybody is desperate to try to find a way out, because Joker gas has been released and is making its way through the entire asylum. And to make even matters worse, Talon has no idea who he is. He has no memory whatsoever. But he does remember how to fight. So they have that going for him. Now, if they only had 30 more of him, it may actually help. And this is where we see him begging for backup. And Amanda Waller, back at the headquarters of the Suicide Squad, is watching all of this unfold and also seeing news reports about the Joker gas that's taking over Arkham Asylum right now. And so this is bad news. Like, this is bad news bears all the way around. Like, Suicide Squad, they are earning their name. And we see our team doing their best to try to fight their way out of here. But then the Joker gas starts to make its way into the room that everybody is fighting in. And as Peacekeeper is being drugged down, he tells Waller to just pull the trigger. The bomb in his neck, activate it. Take the rest of the guards out. Make a hole in the wall for Talon to escape and complete the mission. But this is when we see the arrival of Amanda Waller's backup Suicide Squad. And that squad is led by none other than Superboy himself. And along with him, we see Culebra, Mind Warp, Nocturna, and Exit. Now, Exit is able to create portals, so that's exactly how they're able to get in here. And they have gas masks for everybody that's kind of on their team or they're here to rescue. And so they get masks on everybody as all the guards and inmates are slowly turning into laughing psychopaths. Now, Amanda Waller has had to make some adjustments, because with all of this going on, it's definitely caught attention. A lot of people's attention. And so Culebra has a dead body in her hands. A cadaver, if you will. Because they've gotten the attention of none other than the detective himself, Batman. And with Batman on his way to Arkham Asylum, they have to make it look like nobody is missing. And so we see Exit make a portal to the room that Talon was in. And this is where they put this dead body. They leave it there because right now Arkham Asylum has Talon as a John Doe. So as long as there's a dead body in that bunk, nobody should be the wiser. At least that's the thought process that goes on here. Now, back where all the chaos is going on, we see Superboy. He's trying to save as many people as he can. He's trying to save guards and everything alike. And he is stopping everybody from killing. Like, that's his one rule here, is that we're not killing anybody. And we're going to save as many people as possible. And everybody, you know, Peacekeeper, Noctera, even Waller herself, they're all telling him that's not the mission. The mission is to get Talon and get out of there. And by doing what you're doing, you're jeopardizing everything that's going on. And Amanda Waller, she's mad now. Like, she knew he wasn't ready, but she didn't have much of a choice to put him in the field. And so she starts giving orders to everybody. She has Mind Warps wipe the minds of everybody in the room so they don't know what happened. Has Peacekeeper get everybody through the portal. And Culebra, she's tasked with grabbing as many individuals as she can. In the middle of all of this, we see Mindwipe, his mask break. It cracks. And he turns into one of these Joker laughing psychopaths. And this is when Amanda Waller's like, alright, this is done. We're over with. Culebra, I need you to grab 3 people right now. And this is where we see Superboy shocked with Kryptonite. And she throws Mind Wipe and everybody else through the portal. As the portal closes up, Batman enters the room. Unsure if he actually saw this or not, it doesn't appear to be. He appears to be helping these people, but not realizing that they just made their exit. Pun not intended. All of this to retrieve Talon. Now, Amanda Waller, she swears that though he may not look like it right now, it'll all be worth it. It has to all be worth it. Whatever she has planned, Talon is the prime key in creating this. And we know this because later on in Future State, she has him become her Batman. Now, we still have the problem with Superboy laid out on the ground, and really he's sitting here dying because he was just hit with that much kryptonite that seems to be inside his body, planted there, I'm sure, by Waller, like everybody else has a bomb in their neck. But she also has a serum, and she has Culebra jam the needle into him, and it resuscitates him, brings him back to life. And Superboy, you know, he's upset and he's confused. Like, they could have helped those people and there was still time to, why didn't they? And Peacekeeper, he is livid because thanks to Superboy, 2 of the teammates are now dead. Though Peacekeeper can't really say much because he literally lost his entire team, and that's the reason Superboy had to go in the first place. And so we're seeing Peacekeeper and Superboy really butt heads here. And Peacekeeper tells him, like, you nearly cost me my mission. And since I'm still in charge, and you still got that kryptonite running through your blood, through your body, he sends him a message. And this is where he clocks Superboy right across the face and straight knocks Superboy out and tells him straight up to follow orders. And Amanda Waller's like, okay, like, easy now, like, let's take a break. Let's relax a little bit. And Peacekeeper even gets in her face and lets her know, like, nothing is gonna stop me from completing my mission. Not even you. Now, with everybody, you know, kinda going their separate ways, Superboy's able to get up off the ground and they ask, like, what is next? Like, okay, fine, I got punched in the face, whatever. What are we doing next? And this is when Amanda Waller tells them that they're too slow, that they need a little bit of speed. Alright guys, so as we dive into issue number 3, Amanda Waller, she's having a conversation with Nocturna. Now Waller is wanting to know everything that she does because she had Superboy under her spell. And so she spills everything that she knows to Amanda Waller, letting her know that after Superman died, a bunch of idiots decided they needed to be replaced, that Superman needed to be replaced. And so Connor Kent was created. And so Connor became Superboy. He joined the Young Justice. He fought alongside the Teen Titans. And now somehow he's part of the Suicide Squad. And so she used her glamour on him and got him talking. Now Amanda Waller, she needs to know that Superboy is ready and up for the challenges of what come next. Now Amanda Waller, she truly believes that Connor is going to be the one to lead. Now we've seen Future State. We know exactly what happens. Amanda Waller is trying to create a Justice League. She's trying to create a Justice League for Earth-3. Now we pick up a little bit later and Nocturna has gone inside and she talks to Culebra and she talks to Peacemaker. Now Peacemaker, he overheard this conversation and he wants to have a little bit more in-depth talk with Nocturna to see if she knows anything maybe she wasn't telling Waller beforehand. Now Culebra, she's headed over to Amanda Waller because Amanda Waller, she kind of has like a new mission for her, if you will. And that new mission is Talon. Because right now they need Talon to remember. Talon is going to be her next Batman. And so they need him with a clear head, with a clear mind. He needs to remember who he is. And until that happens, Culebra is kind of going to be his chaperone. Now this is where we pick up in the laundry room with Peacemaker and Nocturna. Nocturna is Scott Snyder's comic. Now Peacemaker, he's adjusted the frequencies of the washer and dryer. That way Waller can't really hear what's going on. She can see everything happening, but she can't hear anything. Now Peacemaker, he wants to know what she knows. What she was holding back from Amanda Waller about Superboy. And she lets him know that the way her glamour works is she gets a vibe from targets. With Superboy, it's like there was nothing there at all. When she got him talking about his past, It was like reading from a Wikipedia entry. So the bottom line is there is something wrong with Superboy. Now, Peacemaker, he understands the threat of Superboy, but he also understands that Superboy is a symptom to a much bigger problem. That problem being Waller. Now, this is an issue for Peacemaker, because Peacemaker, he wants peace. And the goal of the Suicide Squad is to bring peace. And if Amanda Waller is getting in the way of him bringing about his crazy, ridiculous, psychotic version of peace, then Amanda Waller is going to have a new problem, and that problem is going to be Peacemaker. Now, this is where we pick up a little bit later, and Peacemaker, he's made his way into Amanda Waller's office, and she's kind of giving them the rundown of their new mission, of the speedster that they're going after Bolt. And Waller lets us know that Bolt, she's one of the fastest metahumans on the planet. Fast enough to escape them on more than one occasion. Now, Waller knows that she has burst speeds, which means she can't run consistently like the Flash. And they're going to use that to their advantage. They're going to trigger her fight or flight response. Now, currently she's bunked up with the Teen Titans. But her and Amanda Waller made a deal, because Amanda Waller got her out of Australia. And the deal was, if she did that she would join the Suicide Squad. And tonight, it's kind of like she joins or she's going to die. And right now, they know that she's away from Teen Titans Tower. And that is protected and it's restricted. So they're going to have to grab Bolt out in the open. And Waller also knows that after the movie, she likes to go for runs. And they're going to use this as their opportunity to get her isolated and then try to capture her. And so as we see Bolt head off on her run, Culebra makes a giant earthquake that gets her distraction. She thinks people might need some help because this felt like an earthquake, and so she makes her way over to that location to try to do something to help out here. Now, this is where Amanda Waller tells us a little bit more about her plan, and this is where we see Keymaster. Now, Keymaster, he's a teleport, and they're going to use him to teleport Bolt from the alleyway into a prison. And they have another metahuman here by the name of Branch. And Branch, really all his job is to trip her. To use his branches, stick them out, and hopefully it trips Bolt. Now, Peacemaker, he's like, are you kidding me? Like, we're just gonna trip her? That's the whole goal here, is to just try to trip her. And what if she escapes? What if she gets away? But that's when we see the arrival of Superboy. And Connor lets us know that's why he is here. And Peacemaker, he's like, dude, do we have a problem? Like, what's going on, Boy Scout? And Connor straight up, he's just like, fuck around and find out. And I absolutely love that. Connor's just like, find out, bro. Like, you really want to go? Let's go. But this is where we see our mission take off. And everything's falling into place. But as things fall into place, Branch, he's really trying to get out of here. He's not even a criminal. He's just a guy who got experimented on and then wound up here. And he's trying to appeal to Keymaster, saying, you could just teleport us out of here, away from Waller and all of this right now. But Keymaster lets him know, it's only a one-way ticket for one person, and he's going to be the only one to use the teleport. Now, Peacemaker, he sees this and knows exactly what's about to happen. And this is when we see Keymaster, his head freaking explode. And this is when the plan goes completely sideways. Bolt doesn't trip on Branch, the teleport isn't open, and so they're gonna have to jump to a plan B. But Bolt turns around and she sees Connor Kent. And at first she's excited, Superboy, thank God you were here. But this is when Superboy, he tells her straight up, just run. But Bolt doesn't understand, and before too long, it's too late. Plan B has kicked into place, and Suicide Squad has dropped down all around them. But this is when Bolt takes her opportunity and she hightails it out of there. No one able to even touch her, no one even able to grab onto her. Bolt is out of here in an instant. And this is when Peacemaker, he's like, alright guys, like, it's time for plan C. It's time for us to raid the Titans Academy. And everybody, they're sitting here, they're arguing amongst themselves. Connor's just like, Waller told us this is off limits. We're not allowed to go in here. And Nocturna's confirmed that Bolt has already made it back to Teen Titans Tower. So for most of them, they're assuming that this is over with. This fight is done with. we're gonna have to wait for another opportunity. And as they're all sitting here arguing amongst themselves, this is when they hear a voice telling them that if they want to lead, that they have to think multiple steps ahead, not one, not two, but they have to think 3 steps ahead, and tells them, if they're done with this circus of clowns and they really want to break into the Teen Titans Academy, they're gonna need his help. They're gonna need the help of Red X. And so we pick up with Amanda Waller and Peacemaker having a discussion. Because right now, Amanda Waller, she's really happy. She's really happy to have in custody Red X. They may not know his alias, his age, any of his history, and his most recent affiliation has been with the Teen Titans. But now he belongs to Amanda Waller. On the other hand, Peacemaker is not happy about this. He thinks that this kid is just not one of them. And he was never the target. Bolt was the target. He got them into the Titans Tower, only for him to turn on them as soon as they get into the building. So in Peacemaker's eyes, Red X, he belongs in the morgue, not part of the Suicide Squad. But Amanda Waller, she argues that he has Batman-level intellect. And more importantly, Amanda Waller doesn't care what Peacemaker has to say. And this is where she straight zaps him. And we see Peacemaker having electricity course through his body. And she reminds him that when he's on mission, he's in charge. But when he is back here, he is just another inmate under the control of Amanda Waller. But she does acknowledge one thing, that Red X is a fox in a henhouse. But Amanda Waller refuses to be outfoxed. And this is where we see Red X in one of the cells, and he is completely shackled up. We see dozens and dozens of chains wrapping him up. But for some odd reason, he still has his Red X mask on. And it's not for lack of trying, because the Red X, his mask is booby-trapped. And we see Culebra and Talon, they're sitting outside of his cell, just kind of watching him. Now, Culebra, up to this point, she's been kind of the caretaker of Talon as he tries to get his mental capacities back up. Because right now, the only thing he's been continuously saying is who all the time, like a freaking owl. And these two make their way through all of the cells. And coming around the corner, this is when they see Peacemaker. And Peacemaker is being thrown into a cell, only for him to grab these guards and beat the crap out of them. And after he beats them up, he tells Culebra and Talon that they need to meet in the laundry room in 2 minutes. Now this is where Amanda Waller goes up to Red X and has a discussion with him. Because up to this point, every attempt to be able to take his mask off has led one of her men to a near lethal jolt to anybody that touches it. And so up to this point, he has done a fantastic job of being able to hide his identity. But Amanda Waller says it's only a matter of time before they're able to figure it out and get that mask off. Because the reality of it, she really doesn't care who's under the mask. She sees this as another asset, and she has all day long to wait him out and break him. And we see her jolt him with electricity just like she did to Peacemaker. Now in the laundry room, we have the Suicide Squad all gathered here, and Peacemaker letting them know that they have a problem. And that problem is Amanda Waller. Peacemaker, he doesn't mind being lied to, as long as it's in service to the mission at hand. But he really does believe that the last mission was compromised because Amanda Waller took her eyes off of the prize. And he worries that putting them in the field without giving them the truth is putting them all at risk. Thanks to Noctera, they have a prime example of Superboy and Amanda Waller withholding information from them. And so Peacemaker, he really believes that Amanda Waller, she either needs to stand down or she needs to be taken down. Now this whole conversation, Red X is actually hearing it. His comms are in tune with everything in this building. And he asks Amanda Waller, "Do you hear that? That music to my ears." But he lets her know, like, oh, I know you can't hear that. You haven't found all of the Bellevue's dead spots yet. And we see another jolt of electricity go through the chains and into his body. And as he's being electrocuted, he tells Amanda Waller, he tells her, "You know why I let you capture me? It's because I wanted to send you a message." And we see this blue electricity change colors. It changes colors, and instead of the electricity going into his body, it turns a red color, and starts shooting out. And the message that Red X wanted to send her is that she is no longer in charge. And that burst of electricity that came out of Red X, it short-wired every single cell door in this entire place. And all the prisoners have broken free. And they are going haywire and taking out all of these guards. And we see the alarms going up. All kinds of cell blocks are getting alerts. And Peacemaker, his simple words is, "I knew it." And Peacemaker starts shouting orders, tells Superboy and Noctera to head to the cell blocks. If he wants an opportunity to save people, that's where it's going to begin. And while they're doing that, Culebra and Talon are waiting for Red X to make his appearance, while Peacemaker goes to try to secure Waller. This is when we're taken to Red X, and he punches out of his cell. Punching out of this cell, he punches at nothing but a hologram of Amanda Waller, because she's not actually standing there in front of him. But Red X already knew this. And Red X starts dropping little tidbits of information, because he knows that Peacemaker, he's on to Amanda Waller's little hologram trick. And Red X is having so much fun with this. He's cut her off from everything. She can't even blow the bombs in the necks of all the prisoners because he was able to cut that offline as well. But Amanda Waller tells him that the backup systems are going to be on momentarily and that he's not going to be able to make it out of here alive. But Red X has no intentions of leaving, not just yet, because he wants to talk to Amanda Waller face to face. And this is where we see Superboy enter the room, and these two start going at it. Red X dodging everything that Superboy is throwing at him. And Superboy, he's asking, like, what do you want? What are you doing here? And Red X tells him, I just want you to be free. I want to free everybody, but especially you. And he goes on to inform Superboy that Nocturna, she isn't telling him everything, that because there's something definitely wrong with him. And the wrong begins and ends with Amanda Waller. And he's asking, what did she do to me? But Red X tells him that that is his journey. And now that he's got everyone's little frequency tuned into his helmet, he can literally zap them without any problems. And we see Superboy taken off the equation, and Red X makes his way into the duct system. And as he's up in the ducts, the power comes back on. And so we see Talon make his way into the ventilation system. Getting up here, he is immediately met with a foot to the face. And Red X is taunting him as well, telling him that he knows this is all an act. Because Talon is trying to kind of like Section 8 himself out of the Suicide Squad. If Amanda Waller believes that there is no returning Talon to his normal state, then they'll completely remove him from the Suicide Squad altogether. And so Talon has been faking it this entire freaking time. And Talon's just like, who the heck are you, kid? And the Red X tells him that he's just a friend that's gotta get going. And this is where we see him kick Talon down out of the vents onto the ground. And as he jumps out of the ventilation, Culebra comes charging at him, and she winds up a punch about to lay it on him, but this is when she gets shocked as well and drops to the ground. So whatever Red X has going on in his helmet, this charge has got the frequency of each individual and knows exactly how much power to be able to take them down, at least to knock them unconscious temporarily, so he can make his escape. And as he makes his way through these corridors, coming up to Amanda Waller's door, he's met by Peacemaker. And Peacemaker is letting him know, if you want to get to Amanda Waller, you're gonna have to go through me. And we see Peacemaker and the Red X going punch for freaking punch. And the whole time they're sitting here fighting, Red X is telling him, we're not very different from one another. You want order, which you see as freedom. I just want true freedom. I want to cut everybody's puppet strings. I want to see everybody set free from the limitations the world puts on them. And right now, Amanda Waller is limiting you in such drastic ways. And the whole time, Peacemaker is getting his butt handed to him. And Peacemaker tells him, you talk way too much. But Red X was just lining him up. He was setting him up to put him exactly where he wanted. And we see Red X kick him and throw him through the door of Amanda Waller's office. Busting down this door, his words are, ta-da! And Amanda Waller lets him know, like, I have this entire room lined with wired explosives. And Red X lets her know, don't worry, I already detonated one of them. And we see a giant explosion come blasting out of this building, with an airplane coming and swooping in. And we see Red X jump onto this plane. And with his exit, he tells Amanda Waller, thanks for the sleepover. I hope I didn't break too many of your toys. But also lets her know that he has nothing to do with one of her toys escaping, but that she shouldn't worry because he's sure that that individual isn't going to cause her any problems. That individual being none other than Rick Flag himself. Alright guys, so as we jump into issue number 5, we are picking up with one of Bloodsport's field reports. Now we haven't seen a whole lot of Bloodsport, but he currently is working for Amanda Waller. Not necessarily attached to Task Force X. He's out been doing his own missions, under the guidance of Waller herself. But in the opening pages, we are given a quick introduction to kind of who Bloodsport is. Because him and his brother Mickey, they grew up wanting to be soldiers, wanting nothing more than to get into the fight. But when they became of age, Bloodsport didn't join, but Mickey did. And with Mickey joining, he was sent off to war. And in that war, Mickey was KIA. And with feeling this shame, with constantly running, with his brother now being dead, we saw him turn in to the one we know as Bloodsport. And this happened because more or less he was driven mad. The doctors at Belle Reve told him that he had gone through so much grief of losing his brother that he had a psychotic break. And this psychotic break, it led him to being in prison, where he eventually meets up with Amanda Waller, has a bomb implanted in his head, and becomes part of Task Force X. And that is what will bring us to Earth-3, the Earth of the Crime Syndicate. And that is a line that we have been covering. Make sure you guys are not missing any of the Crime Syndicate, because it is absolutely amazing. It will be the next video that we are covering. Now, Bloodsport, he's trained in every kind of combat, but when his fists aren't enough, he has a very, very unique ability. He has the ability to teleport any weapon he needs, and now that he is working for Amanda Waller, he has every weapon at his disposal. And so more or less, Bloodsport is a one-man suicide squad. But he's not running missions on Earth-1, he's running missions on Earth-3. He's running missions all across the multiverse, because he is looking for something. Now, Amanda Waller tells him that he is looking for new recruits to join the suicide squad that he wants, that Amanda Waller wants. Now, Bloodsport up to this point, given this fancy helmet by Amanda Waller, he understands he's picking up recruits, he's gathering intel, but he also knows that there is something more at play, something Amanda Waller has yet to actually divulge to him. But regardless, he gives his report. He sends his sit rep up the line, letting Amanda Waller know that he has been on Earth-3 for 48 hours. And in the 2 days he has been here, there has been absolutely no metahuman activity. So he continues to observe Metropolis. And as he observes Metropolis, he sees the one and only, the one that is on every single Earth, the Boy Scout of America, the protector of Earth, the one beacon of hope. Every Earth has a Superman. The thing is, Amanda Waller, she doesn't need one. She has Superboy, she has Connor, so there is absolutely no reason for her to need yet another Superman. But as Bloodsport starts to observe this Superman with a little bit more intensity, he finds out very quickly that this isn't Kal-El. This isn't the Boy Scout that he has seen on every other Earth. And Bloodsport, as he continues his investigation, he finds out that this man's name is Ultraman. And he pieces together that all of the capes here, they are all villains. And he goes through the list. He goes through the knockoff Batman that is Owlman, the wannabe Green Lantern that calls himself the Emerald Knight, and they call themselves the Crime Syndicate. But in all of this, he does find someone very interesting. On Earth-3, he finds Black Siren, abilities resembling much of Black Canary's. But like everybody else, everybody with meta powers is pretty much evil on this planet. And as Bloodsport is giving his report to Amanda Waller, he goes to tell her that this Earth is perfect. Perfect for what she wants to do. But at the end of the day, Amanda Waller, she doesn't give two craps what Bloodsport thinks. She didn't put a bomb in his head for his opinion. And Waller, she just tells him straight up, you need to bag Black Siren, bring her back to me, and cut all this damn commentary every time you're giving me a report. Now, as it stands with her little makeshift Suicide Squad she's got going on, she has been building a team. She has been building her own Justice League. Because we see a Superman, we see a Batman, we see this team slowly starting to form together, but right now one of her biggest concerns is that someone inside of this is working against her, because somebody from inside the facility released Rick Flag. He had gotten out during the Red X attack, and it was assumed that Red X was the one to let him out. But after examining all of the information, Amanda Waller has come to the conclusion that one of her Suicide Squad is the one responsible for letting out Flag. Now this is where we pick back up with Bloodsport. And Bloodsport, he's been doing something very unique when he goes to all of these Earths. He's been living vicariously through all of his doppelgangers. For example, on this Earth, he's a teacher, he's a father, he's an uncle. And Mickey, he's a doctor and the father of two beautiful children. And so whenever he gets the opportunity, he comes and checks on all of them. He checks on his doppelgangers of these Earths to see how they are living their lives, to see if they became Bloodsport or if they are living happy, successful, fulfilling lives. And while he stalks and watches from the window, this is when the Starro invasion begins. And this is something that we saw happen. We saw the Starro invasion make its attack upon the crime syndicate, but Bloodsport using this as an opportunity. With the crime syndicate currently distracted, it will give him the opportunity to go after Black Siren, to kidnap her and bring her back to Amanda Waller. And as he goes to grab her, she hits him with a sonic blast, sending him flying in the opposite direction. But remember, he has a arsenal of multiversal weapons at his disposal. Every Earth he's been to, he's been able to collect some kind of new weapon. And the weapon he has for this specific location, for this specific individual, is a sonic blast gun. He's got a gun to go against everybody. And so we see the two sonic blasts going against one another. But Bloodsport's weapon ends up outdoing the Black Siren. And as he's about to take her down, take her into custody, this is where he hears a voice, and then Ultraman grabbing him by his helmet and lifting him up off the ground. And so it looks like Bloodsport, he is about effed. Ultraman recognizing that this man does not belong here, it's about to go sideways real quick. Now this part of the story is extremely vital as well, because we're seeing the connection of multiple lines going on right now. We've already seen the connection to the crime syndicate, and now we're gonna see our connection to the Swamp Thing, which is arguably one of the best things coming out of DC Comics right now. And if you're not reading it, I promise you, you're missing out, because Ram V is one of the best writers in DC Comics right now. But Amanda Waller is told by her team that they have tracked Swamp Thing. They have an idea of where the location might be, of where Levi might be, the current iteration of Swamp Thing. Because in the Swamp Thing line, we've seen Levi jumping all around the world, going to all kinds of different locations. But they're letting Waller know that they have pinpointed the location of where Levi currently is, or at least how to find Levi. And so Amanda Waller, she goes to Peacemaker and tells him that he's going to have to head up this mission. And if he doesn't do it, of course, like usual, he will die. And Peacemaker, he tries to stand up for himself just a little bit. He tells her, go ahead and kill me, because I came here to make peace. And the last thing that we have done so far is peace. We have fought mission after mission, and we are no closer to having some kind of peace than ever before. And now we're sitting here in lockdown, and you don't trust a single one of us. But then Waller, she zaps him. She electrocutes the crap out of him and really tells him more or less, like, you're gonna die when I want you to die. You're not gonna die anytime soon. You're gonna go run this mission, and you're gonna shut your mouth when I tell you to do it. And with him incapacitated, she tells the little minions around to grab him and bring him to where Swamp Thing is and make sure he is there by the time he wakes up. So he has no other choice but to go find the Swamp Thing. But then we see Waller get interrupted yet again, and this time it's because of Bloodsport. Bloodsport is asking for the big gun, because right now he is going toe to toe with Ultraman, using every weapon within his arsenal, and for the most part, he is holding Ultraman off, at least temporarily. But then Ultraman, he gets tired of this. He gets bored with all of these toys and all of these weapons. And he goes in, he gets close, he breaks Bloodsport's weapons, x-rays his head to see that there is a bomb implanted inside of it. And he asks Bloodsport why this is in your head. What is going on here and why are you here? But before he can answer him, this is where we see teleported in the big gun. The big gun more or less being a Kryptonite rifle. Now obviously somebody did not do their homework, because Ultraman, he takes this hit of Kryptonite, he drops down to his knees, and he inhales every single bit of it. Pure, undiluted Kryptonite. Because Ultraman, he gets more power when he's introduced to green Kryptonite. And with him inhaling all of this Kryptonite, he uses his laser vision and zaps the bomb out of Bloodsport's head. And with the bomb being gone, he can now get all the information he wants. He can find out exactly who he was talking to, how he got these guns teleported in, and where he can get more of that delicious, delicious Kryptonite. Alright guys, so as we dive into issue number 6, we're picking up with some inner monologue from Amanda Waller, because she's been sending Bloodsport to different Earths along the multiverse for quite some time now, trying to find suitable candidates for her Suicide Squad. Individuals like Black Siren, which is the Earth-3 Black Canary. But with Bloodsport getting a little bit sloppy, he ends up being held hostage by Ultraman after using a crap ton of Kryptonite on him, which is only like freaking energy for him, like steroids. And now he is fiending for some more. And because of that, he is holding him hostage, waiting for more individuals to make their way to Earth-3 and try to rescue him, hoping and believing that they're gonna come with more Kryptonite to try to use that as a weapon. But aside from all of that, Amanda Waller, she learned a very important thing. She learned that Earth-3 was in need of heroes. Now, for those of you that followed my Future State videos, or you read Future State yourself, we definitely talked all about this, because we know how this ends. We know exactly where this story goes. Amanda Waller, at the end of the day, she is trying to create her own Justice League. That is the end game here, and Earth-3 is the prime candidate for that. It is an Earth that needs saving, an Earth that needs some true heroes, because Ultraman and all of them, you know, while Ultraman may have all of the powers of Superman, he's an evil version. Not necessarily evil, but he does things the way he wants. He may want to save you one day, the other day he may let you die. And he's very selfish, very self-centered individual, very ego-driven individual. All the worst traits that a superhero could have, he exhibits them to the max. But nonetheless, Amanda Waller, she needs Bloodsport back. Not only that, she wants Black Siren. And so she sends the rest of her team after Night Terror, an individual that more or less can phase through walls. And so we see Connor Kent and the rest of Task Force X making their way to her and taking her out, bringing her back to Waller and using her for whatever experiment she needs to be able to get all of them to Earth-3. Now, of course, Superboy, he has questions about all of this, on how the teleportation works, and exactly what they want with Night Terror, giving her off to a doctor and telling the doctor that she has 1 hour to come up with whatever Amanda Waller needs her to do. They're very vague in it. They don't really let us know what Amanda Waller is planning, because at the end of the day, Amanda Waller, she's gonna do exactly what needs to be done, regardless of how many people need to die, as long as she's preserving the overall majority of individuals. Now, the thing about Superboy, he doesn't really have his memory. He doesn't remember a lot of how he got here, how Amanda Waller ended up tricking him to come here. But she continuously holds it over his head that he is going to comply or he is going to die. And with him not knowing, not being 100% sure on if that is a bluff or if that is the truth, he is not willing to risk it. And so, for the time being, he is playing along. Now, Amanda Waller, she has huge plans for him. And I think at the end of the day, what Amanda Waller does with him is absolutely amazing. It's something I did not expect, but it's really everything that Connor Kent deserves. The question is, can we forgive Amanda Waller for everything that she is doing to be able to get us to that point? Now, this is when Amanda Waller checks in with Peacemaker, because Peacemaker and a bunch of D-list individuals have made their way trying to track down the Swamp Thing, because Amanda Waller really wants to add this to her more or less collection of villains and anti-heroes and metahumans alike. But that's not the only reason she's observing this, because she is 100% certain that Peacemaker is the one that released Flag from his prison hold. And because of that, she is now questioning his loyalty, seeing if he is even trustworthy to run any more important missions outside of this one that's completely suicidal to begin with because you're going against the freaking Swamp Thing. But at the end of the day, she is willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever the cost, she is willing to pay them. She is willing to let anybody pay them. Because at the end of the day, she believes she is doing what is absolutely necessary to help people. Now, with our scientists coming back, they created a type of wristband that's going to allow them to go to Earth-3 and operate on that frequency without their brains being freaking scrambled. And we can only assume that the scientists went through very Nazi-like means to be able to create this. And of course, nobody is going to ask the questions because Amanda Waller's not going to give them the time. Throwing on these wristbands, they are told they have an hour to locate Bloodsport, to locate Black Siren, and return back to the portal in time. And so with the portal opening up, they arrive in Metropolis, Earth-3. And looking around this place, it looks so familiar to them because this is almost a replica of where they come from. It looks so much like home to them. Now, before they really get into anything, they stop and have a conversation because Red X told them a lot of stuff. And they need to discuss it because it's important information about Amanda Waller. And as it stands, Connor's brain, it really is a mess right now. Even trying to read his mind, it's nothing but a cloudy image. And Superboy has no memory of how Amanda Waller got him here. And this really worries him. It worries everybody. Because Amanda Waller, no matter what, at the end of the day, manipulating people in this manner, it's going to make them question everything. But while they're sitting here discussing all of this information, Superboy feels something heading their way, telling everybody to get down. This is where we see the arrival of Ultraman. And Ultraman wastes no time laying waste to all of these guys, burning to a crisp the half-tree, half-mutant. We see Connor trying to go toe-to-toe with Ultraman, and the only thing Ultraman caring about right now is where he can get some of that delicious Kryptonite. Who is going to tell him where he can get it? Who is going to give it to him? But what Ultraman didn't know is part of the team had broken off. They had broken off to go rescue Bloodsport and Black Siren. With them making their arrival, this gives them a small advantage, gives them a little bit of an upper hand. It distracts Ultraman long enough for everybody to try to make their escape. Connor going ahead and staying behind and going toe to toe. And so what we are seeing is Ultraman versus Superboy. And at first, Ultraman, he's getting the upper hand. He is beating the crap out of Connor. And it doesn't look like Connor's going to be able to stand a chance. But we see Superboy flip the script. And he starts laying into Ultraman. He starts laying into him so much, it doesn't look like he's about to stop. He keeps going and going and going. And cutting over to Amanda Waller, we're finding out that, he has some kind of medication. We've known this for a little bit now, that Amanda Waller has him on a medication. And with his energy levels spiking like this, with his vitals going off the charts, he's going to need another dose very quickly. So Amanda Waller is trying to force him, trying to make him come. But this is when Amanda Waller, she's told, not everybody needs a bomb in their head to comply. And so Amanda Waller, she gets it. She appeals to Superboy how she actually needs to, saying that he is right, that he doesn't kill, he doesn't need to kill, and that's not who he is. Because at the end of the day, he is Superboy. No matter him being a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor, he is Superboy. He has Superman's DNA inside of his body. And with him stopping, Ultraman's able to get a punch in. But Connor, he makes his escape, taking off to the portal and making it just in time. It closes and Ultraman is unable to get through. And that portal, it brought them to somewhere in Russia. And Amanda Waller tells them that there's no time to explain where they are or why they are there, telling them that there is a bunker directly beneath them. And Superboy, he needs his medicine and he needs it now. But at this point, Superboy, he is getting livid. And he tells her straight up that I don't need medicine. I need freaking answers and I need them now. But this is when we hear the voice of Superboy, of a second Superboy. Superboy dressing up like back in the Young Titans, before he got this clean cut look when he joined the Teen Titans back in the comics. We are seeing Con-El. Alright gang, so as we dive into this annual edition, we are picking up with Rick Flag and Amanda Waller. On one of his first missions, he's talking to Amanda Waller about Task Force X, about the Suicide Squad, and how you can get this team to be able to operate effectively. And from day one, Rick Flag has always believed that if you just let us know what is going on, if you told us what we are fighting for, then these guys might be more willing to comply and fight more vigorously. But of course, Amanda Waller, from day one, has never been about informing them anything more than they need to know. Amanda Waller has always been about the mission, while Rick Flag, he has always been about the squad. While the mission is definitely an important aspect, he has always cared about the squad that is underneath him, on trying to ensure as many of them stay alive as possible. And recently, Amanda Waller has changed, and we know everything that she has planned. We saw it all transpire in the Future State event. Amanda Waller, she is building her own Justice League, and she is going to use this Justice League to take over the world. Now, Rick Flag, it seems to be that he has an understanding that she has plans of taking over this Earth. And of course, he's not going to let that happen. He's going to do whatever he can to stop her. But after he found this information out, Amanda Waller threw him in a cell. He was only lucky to escape because when Red X made his way into the facility, someone freed him, not knowing who it was, but in all of the commotion, his cell had been unlocked. And this is where Rick Flag made his escape. And now he vows to take her down, to take down Amanda Waller, to reform the Suicide Squad with a bunch of old members, or any members he can get his hands on, to build a new team that can take her down, to stop this Justice League from taking over the planet. But we know Amanda Waller, she has no eyes for this Earth, believing this Earth is already done with. Having its own Justice League and them still not doing what is necessary, this Earth doesn't really need saving in comparison to, say, Earth-3, where you have the crime syndicate. And so Amanda Waller, she is building a Justice League that can take on the crime syndicate. That is her entire goal, to create a Justice League for a Earth that truly needs it. But as she is discussing all of this information, this is when one of the guards rush in because something is going on right now. That something has to do with Superboy. And that's what picks us up with Connor and Superboy. Superboy and Superboy standing off, looking at one another. Now, of course, Amanda Waller, she was hoping that this did not happen, and she tells her guards to initiate all of the castle protocols. To do this immediately, and until the protocols have been completed, everybody is fending for themselves. And this is where we see the fight begin. We see clone versus clone, Superboy versus Superboy. Now, while all of this is going on, while these two are starting their brawl, the rest of the team, they make their way down into the facility. Their main objective was to get something that was supposed to help Superboy, something Amanda Waller says he needs right away. And as they make their way into the facility, they're seeing that this is some old research lab. And as they're uncovering all of these truths, our Suicide Squad Superboy, he believes this guy to be an Earth-3 imposter, some kind of evil version of him. But our punk rock Superboy, he's trying to tell him that he is Superboy, that he saw the surveillance of him at Teen Titans Tower, and it got him wondering what is going on. Now our Suicide Squad Superboy, he's not hearing any of this. He believes him to just be an imposter, to be somebody evil. Maybe he doesn't know at this point. He just knows it's somebody that looks like him, has his powers, and he believes him to be the enemy. Now, while our Suicide Squad is down in this facility, they're learning a lot of information. One thing specifically that they're learning is that they have been working on clones down here. And it's not just anybody, it's the Agenda. Now, the Agenda, they're the ones that made clones of Superboy. Now, Match has been an interesting character, exhibiting the powers kind of similar to Superboy, but it's been theorized that he has greater control of it. But the only thing about Match is that his clone body and mind, they slowly rot away over time, and he is not nearly as invulnerable as the actual Superboy. But as they are uncovering all of this information, this is when they get attacked by tons and tons of robots, coming in from every direction, up, down, left, right, robots galore. Activating some kind of security protocol, they are now fighting for their lives. While on the outside, Superboy and Superboy are going at one another. Their fight still continuing on, but our Suicide Squad slicing through some robots. And as they reach the room that they needed to get to, they all get stopped dead in their tracks, because what they see blows their freaking minds. But this is where we see the Superboy fight come to an end. And that happens because Suicide Squad Superboy has a building come collapsing down on top of him. With this building falling on top of him, we see Superboy go to clear out the rubble, and all of the suspicions have been confirmed. This is not Superboy. This is the clone of Superboy. The Suicide Squad Superboy is actually Match. And of course that makes sense. Amanda Waller, she could never kidnap him. There is no way she would get away with kidnapping the real Connor, with kidnapping the real Superboy. Everybody would be on top of her in a heartbeat. And so she got the next best thing. That next best thing, of course, is Match. Now, inside the facility, our Suicide Squad is currently fighting off tons of robots still. And with them all being surrounded, this is where we see Canary from Earth-3. She gives out a screech and takes all of them out. Now, she came back to consciousness. They've been kidnapping her. After she does this, Culebra knocks her the heck out, because their job is still to kidnap her and bring her back to Amanda Waller. Now on the outside, Match is starting to lose it, because he has no memory of any of this. He believed himself to be Superboy. He believed himself to be Connor. He had no reason to think otherwise, because those are all the memories he had. And so now learning all of this, having his reality coming tearing down around him, he lashes out. He lashes out to the only individual around him, that being Superboy. And Superboy tries to tell him that, we thought you were dead, and that this is all Waller's doing. Everything that has happened, you being here right now, has everything to do with Waller and nothing to do with us. Now, Amanda Waller, having checkmate coming down around her, she evacuates her base through a portal. Taking this portal, she makes her exit. Now being wanted by the US government, wanted by the Justice League, her Suicide Squad Task Force X is now all on the run. And Superboy and Match making their way down into the facility. This is where he looks around and he recognizes the Agenda. The people that had originally cloned him, designed him to make him better or stronger, or at least that was the intent. And as they look around, in giant capsules, all around them are clone Superboys. And we see Bloodsport, he takes that serum that Amanda Waller was after, injecting this into Match. It kind of brings him back to life, if you will, and makes him look and act like Superboy. But before it can be injected into him, he grabs it and he smashes it in his hand. Now, Superboy, he says that Amanda Waller is going to pay for everything that she has done. And with the Justice League and Checkmate now currently inbound, they're gonna do everything they can to help Match out. But right before his eyes, this is where we see the entirety of the team teleported out, because Amanda Waller just teleported all of them out instantaneously. And that's what's going to pick us up on Task Force X Island. Location unknown. And currently Amanda Waller is going over all of the information that she has gotten on what is going on with everybody, how everybody is dealing with this new information they got, and keeping everybody really on a tight leash as it stands until she can ensure that everybody is still on board with her. Now, the rest of the team, they don't know what to do here, with Match really starting to understand that he's not Superboy after believing for so long that he truly was Superboy. He's having to come to terms with everything that he has learned. And the rest of the team, they want to get that Superboy back, because if they can get him back, he can rescue all of them, get them off of this godforsaken island, and get them out of this room. And of course, Amanda Waller, she is definitely concerned on if he is a lost cause, on if Match is going to be a waste of time. But as it stands, he's stable. But you can't put this back in the box. He knows who he is, and he knows what he is. But when it comes to his fighting ability, everything was off of the charts when he was going against Superboy. So even if this isn't Superman, even if this isn't Superboy, this is their Superman. Now that's what's going to take us to an undisclosed location yet again. This time with Rick Flag getting into one of these black sites. One of these black sites that hold criminals. Because Rick Flag has every intention of rebuilding the Suicide Squad, to make a Suicide Squad that can actually stop Amanda Waller. And now that Amanda Waller is currently on the run, Rick Flag doesn't have to hide anymore. And going into this black site, he teams up with somebody that will be able to find out where she went. That individual, of course, is Mirror Master. The individual that can see through any freaking mirror, any reflection. And so if you want to be able to hunt down Amanda Waller, this is going to be the best individual to do it with. And of course, Rick Flag having a trick up his sleeve, he has an inside man. Somebody on the inside feeding him information, and that somebody is Talon. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Now, I hope this alleviates a lot of the issue that people were having with Superboy, Connor working for Amanda Waller and being on the Suicide Squad, because this is a great revelation. This is showing us that it's not Superboy or anything else like that. This is actually Match. It's one of what appeared to be hundreds and hundreds of clones. Probably something Amanda Waller took control of, and once she realized that she had a more or less endless supply of Superboys at her disposal, she realized the true potential of what she could do. That true potential being able to rescue a world like Earth-3, being able to create her own Suicide Squad and have them be the heroes that a Earth like Earth-3 truly needs. I, for one, think it was a great revelation, definitely the way to go, definitely the direction that they needed to take, the revelation that they needed to expose to us. And so Match is now going to have a decision to make. Does he continue down this course? Does he try to be the Superboy that Amanda Waller thinks he can be? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown. Alright gang, so this issue is going to pick us up with Ambush Bug. Now this is a character that does not get used ever. It's a character that's rarely ever used in DC Comics, but it's one of those characters that can break the fourth wall. Now, personally, I'm quite over characters that break the fourth wall. I'm not even really that big of a Deadpool fan, But it seems like, you gotta have a Deadpool, you gotta have an ambush bug. Every comic place loves breaking that fourth wall, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing Ambush Bug break that fourth wall and really break down everything that is going on, letting us know that Amanda Waller, she is currently creating her Justice League. This is all in hopes to save a world that truly needs saving. Now, a lot of people, they're not happy with Amanda Waller, everything that she's been doing, thinking that her time is going to be coming, but I'm here to tell you that if Future State does come true, if Future State does come to fruition, then Amanda Waller isn't actually going to face any consequences. In fact, she will free Earth-3 from the crime syndicate, put them on ice, and have her Justice League reign supreme over Earth-3. Now, Ambush Bug, he's not, the world's greatest detective. He doesn't have laser vision, he can't talk to fish, he doesn't have a power ring or anything like that. He is simply a guy who can teleport short distances. And obviously, he can break the fourth wall. But with the Suicide Squad now being complete, Amanda Waller is hellbound with the Suicide Squad. And as Ambush Bug is saying all of this, it pans out and all of Suicide Squad is sitting on the beach. He is playing with action figures that look like all of them, and they're trying to figure out where the hell this guy came from, what his purpose is here, and what he is going on about. But what he is going on about is telling all of them the truth, finally laying it all out so they all know. And the truth of the matter is Bloodsport, he was sent throughout the multiverse, throughout the omniverse, to search for the Suicide Squad, to do what Amanda Waller wanted him to do. Using this fancy helmet that she created, this protected his mind from the frequencies of different planets, of different worlds. And this is where Nocturna learns that she is from a different Earth, saying that most of them are, and that Amanda Waller messed with all of their minds, making them completely forget where they came from, where their origin story starts, giving all of them an opportunity to have a fresh, clean slate. But Ambush goes on to tell them, to let them know that this is all fake, none of this is real, that they are all living in a comic book. And with all of them freaking out a little bit, Bloodsport, he's done hearing this, he's done listening to Ambush Bug and all the craziness he's talking about. But Nocturna, she knows this to be true. She knows that whatever is going on right now, this isn't real. And picking up on the outside, we have Amanda Waller and the entirety of Suicide Squad currently sitting in these giant vats, and they are in a simulation, a kind of way of helping them cope with everything, giving them a vacation away from everything, but also them getting all of the information that they need. Now, obviously, Ambush Bug, he wasn't supposed to divulge most of this information, but it's already too late. The cat is already out of the bag. But that is something Amanda Waller is going to have to deal with here shortly. Currently checking on everybody else. Superboy, or Match I should say, he's still dealing with the fact that he's not actually Superboy. With the fact Amanda Waller messed with his brain and made him believe that he was actually Superboy, when in all of reality, he just wanted to be himself. And with him getting some attitude, with him breaking the table, Amanda Waller, she shocks the crap out of him and tells him that he was given the opportunity he always wanted. The opportunity to reach his full potential, to wear that S on his chest and be a real Kryptonian, to be a Superboy. Because at the end of the day, Match is a nobody. But this is when we pick up with Peacemaker, currently in the jungles, currently trying to find the Swamp Thing. And be sure to check out issue number 7 of Swamp Thing. We're going to be covering it here in a couple of days. And it's going to be continuing this story on of Peacemaker trying to find the Swamp Thing. Because at the end of the day, if they find Swamp Thing, if they can capture just a piece of the green and be able to use that as a surveillance technique, they could essentially be able to see anything and anywhere in the world. But Amanda Waller, she really sent Peacemaker here because she believes he is responsible for letting out Flag, for releasing him from his captivity. And so as it stands, she's not sure if she can get Peacemaker back on her side. She is worried that he may be compromised and it may be too late. Now this is where Amanda Waller, she gets questioned. One of her guys asks, if Peacemaker, if you're really thinking he is the one that released Rick Flag, why not send him to our therapist, quote unquote, the therapist who will rearrange his mind, mess with his mind, and make it to where they remember or believe a certain thing. But the unique thing about Peacemaker is that he is able to shut down every part of his mind except for the mission at hand. That's what makes him such a valuable asset, is that he can shut down everything and have a one-track mind, that being the mission at hand. And so she needs Peacemaker to believe in the Suicide Squad again. And once he does, he will give up Flag, or at least that is her hope. But if he doesn't, she has every intention of making his neck go boom. And that's where we pick back up with our Suicide Squad inside the simulation, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to figure out why Waller is doing all of this. And as they're discussing all of this is where we see some creatures break out of nowhere. Some demons coming straight for them. Not sure if this is some kind of training or it's something worse. But with Bloodsport being able to access his weapons again, they know that it's time to get down at it. It's time to get down in the nitty-gritty and start fighting some demons. And with them blasting away at demons, Superboy makes his arrival, coming in and using his laser vision, cutting some demons in freaking half. This was essentially a cakewalk for them. They took out all of these demons with no problem. But right now, Nocturna, she's having such a hard time grasping with the idea that she comes from a different Earth, that her mind was messed with. And we see Match really step up. This is his opportunity to be Superboy, and we hear a very Superboy-like speech come from him, with him more or less telling Nocturna that it doesn't matter where she comes from, all that matters is what they're doing now. Because at the end of the day, no matter what, Amanda Waller cannot change who they are on the inside. Now, of course, Nocturna, she is still absolutely livid. No matter what Superboy has to say, no matter what Match has to tell her, every bone in her body wants to kill Amanda Waller. And this is when Amanda Waller, she pops up in the sky, telling them that they are going to do exactly what they are told, letting them know that she saved them. They were nothing on their Earths, and now they have a chance to truly be something, to save a world. And now with their training being done, they easily handled these guys, which means they are going to be able to easily handle what lays ahead of them. Because Ambush Bug had been trying to tell them that they are going to be going to hell. And he meant that literally. Amanda Waller is sending them straight to hell. And their target is the Rock of Eternity. And lets them know that they need to get the job done or they are going to be staying there permanently. And as our Suicide Squad makes their arrival to hell, they are immediately attacked by demons. Demons coming from every which direction. We see the Suicide Squad kick it into high gear and they start kicking some demon butt. And with them defeating most of the demons within their vicinity, Bloodsport lets them know, like, this is a horrible idea. This is a terrible idea. I don't want to be here. But Superboy, he tries to chime in because Match is trying to be Superboy. He's trying to live up to that, essentially manifesting himself to be that individual. And so by all accounts, he is trying to take lead. He is trying to be that guy. Now, Bloodsport doesn't like taking orders from anybody, to include somebody like Match, who is pretending to be Superboy. And while we see Ambush Bug trying to break these guys up, trying to stop them from fighting before this fight escalates too far out of control, this is when they hear a voice telling them that they need to get on the comms, because they have a message for their boss. They have a message for Amanda Waller. And that message is that the Hell Squad is coming for them. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are getting narration from Ambush Bug. And right now, he's just going over the chain of events that have brought us to exactly where we are. Because right now, the Suicide Squad have found themselves in hell, going after the Rock of Eternity. Now, if you want to find out how the Rock of Eternity got there in the first place, be sure to check out the new issue of Shazam that I just posted up. And right now, there are two different Suicide Squads. There is the one that is in hell being run by Superboy, aka Match, the Bizarro clone. And then there is Peacemaker. He had been sent to India to try to track down the Green, the one known as the Swamp Thing. And that is another series that if you guys have not been checking out, you are severely missing out. Ram V is doing some of the best writing out of DC Comics right now. It really is a phenomenal story, and I can tell a lot of you have not been watching it just by looking at the views on the Swamp Thing storyline. So I'm telling you, go do yourself a favor and go freaking watch it. But Peacemaker was sent in to try to track down and capture the Swamp Thing. Now, he learned very quickly that wasn't going to happen. And what the Swamp Thing did was took out the detonator in his neck. Taking out that explosive, he gave free will to him. He gave Peacemaker the opportunity to truly have some peace. And he tells him that to just walk away. You don't have to try to capture me. You don't have to do this fight. Because if you continue to do this fight, you are going to die. You are going to lose this fight, and this is your opportunity to walk away from this all clean and clear. Now, Amanda Waller, she is currently on the run from all of the US government. She went rogue. That's the simplest way to put it. And right now, she is hiding out on an island with the rest of her team. And that's because Amanda Waller, she has much deeper plans. Well, to us, it looks extremely sinister. It looks like she is the worst person imaginable. And things are only going to begin to look worse, especially from our perspective. But Amanda Waller, she has a much bigger play. And that's because she's trying to create the Justice League that's going to serve on Earth-3. Seeing that this Earth is a lost cause, she wants to truly be able to protect something. And if she can't protect this Earth, she is going to go to an Earth that needs a Justice League and needs true protection. And so right now, Amanda Waller, she's trying to figure out why she has no communications when it comes to Peacemaker. Not sure if they're being jammed, not sure if it's caused by the Green, but right now she is very unhappy. Now this is where Dr. Rodriguez steps in, trying to give some kind of information to Amanda Waller. Her hoping that it's good information, but it's really not. The fact of the matter is, she believes that Talon is truly insane, that there is no bringing him back for the brink that he has already gone through. That whatever he endured, whatever happened to him, there is no reversing it. Now, we know as the reader that he has been working for Rick Flag, that he has been a secret spy sent in to find out what Amanda Waller is actually up to. Now, Amanda Waller, she doesn't really care, because at the end of the day, she is still going to utilize him. She is still going to use him. She's going to be sending him down to hell with the rest of the Suicide Squad. And so she tells Dr. Rodriguez that she needs to prepare Talon to be sent down there. And with Amanda Waller walking out of the room, the good doctor lets us know that she knows Talon is not actually crazy, that he is doing an act. And what's more is she knows that he is communicating with the outside world. And it seems that his plan is to bring down Amanda Waller. And Dr. Rodriguez wants to help with that because she has seen the lengths that Amanda Waller has gone to, believing it to be unethical, believing her to gone just way too far. She is going to do whatever is necessary to try and stop Amanda Waller. But that's what drops us down into hell. And we pick up with the Suicide Squad versus the Hell Squad. Now the Hell Squad, it is being led by Mind Warp. And if you guys remember, he actually died some issues back. And it appears that he went straight to hell. And when he went down there, he recruited disgruntled Suicide Squad employees to try to get some revenge. But we learn that Amanda Waller is responsible, because Amanda Waller told them that the Suicide Squad was on their way, having Dr. Rodriguez work on some kind of new initiative. This was the first opportunity to test out her work, so kind of a two birds, one stone situation. And so the fight is breaking out, with everybody branching off and taking somebody on. We see a knife that is plunged into Culebra's neck. With Culebra going down, she dies right there on the spot. And everything is going sideways. The Suicide Squad, they are slowly losing ground. And this is where we see Match, he just loses it. Flying up in the sky, using his heat vision, he clears a path so Ambush Bug can make it to the Rock of Eternity. With him making it to the Rock of Eternity, he's not sure what he's supposed to do here. Amanda Waller didn't really give great guidance, but she is giving it now, because she didn't come for the entire Rock of Eternity. She came for a sample of something off of the Rock of Eternity. Now, while all of that is transpiring, we see Dr. Rodriguez and Talon, and with her escorting Talon into the room, getting ready to teleport him all the way down to hell, he is getting teleported in with someone else. He gets teleported in with Major Force. And with Major Force stepping onto the battlefield, there is a new sheriff in town. Now Talon looking around, seeing that his friend, the person he cares about, Culebra, has been murdered right here on the spot. Talon goes even crazier, starts cutting people up left and right. But as Talon turns around, he sees that Culebra is standing up. Well, at least her spirit is standing up, because Culebra, she died. And when she died, she went straight to hell, a place that she's already at. And this is where Culebra realizes that she actually is a bad guy because she ended up in hell. But right now, Black Canary is keeping all of her power on Mind Warp, trying to keep him down, trying to keep him out of the fight as long as possible. We see Branch come up behind her and close her mouth. But Match gets the opportunity to grab Mind Warp, and he is about to pulverize him. But this is when Noctura comes in and manipulates the mind of Match, makes him drop down to his knees and make him a sliveling pile of nothingness. But that doesn't stop Major Force from completely smashing in the brains of Mind Warp. And just like that, this fight is done, this fight is over with. With all of the Hell Squad now being released from Mind Warp, they're trying to figure out why they're here, how they ended up here, what is going on. But Major Force lets everybody know that this is fine, that Amanda Waller is not done with everybody yet. We see him slam down a rod into the ground, and it starts glowing a bright, bright green. And every individual that is a soul, anybody that is not actually alive, we see them start getting sucked into this. And that includes Culebra as well. With Major Force grabbing the body of Culebra, he says that it's time to exfil. It's time to get out of here because the mission is now complete. Now, picking back up with Amanda Waller, we find out that what Ambush Bug had procured for her is a sample of the metaphysical shield that protects the Rock of Eternity. Now, it's going to take them a little bit of while to try and reverse engineer this thing. But once they're able to, they're going to be able to protect Earth-3 from interdimensional invasions. And so with essentially everything being taken care of from below, they now have to worry about some kind of invasion from space, some way to protect the planet, like Iron Man would say, be able to put a suit all around the Earth. And that is going to be their next mission. Now, picking back up with our Suicide Squad that is on the beach, no longer in hell, in this little paradise, if you will, we have Ambush Bug really just divulging everything that he currently knows, letting Bloodsport know that Waller has a way of walling off Earth-3 from metaphysical invasions, and that they're going to be sent into space so they can stop physical invasions. Now, Bloodsport, he goes up to Major Force and he wants to know, what did you do to Culebra? What did you do to all of their souls? And Major Force lets us know that all of them are actually going to be fine. And that's where we pick up with Culebra waking up. She wakes up and she finds Amanda Waller standing directly above her. And what has happened is the DoD had intercepted some Lazarus resin. They confiscated enough wake-up juice to bring back people from the dead. And so the good news is that they no longer have to have a bomb in their neck. But if she wants to stay alive, she's going to have to be more at the compound. She's going to need more of that Lazarus resin. And what Amanda Waller has done is she has ended death for the Suicide Squad. That no longer death is going to stop you from being a part of this team. That she will just bring you back to life and use you again. And this is where we see surrounding them is tons and tons of bodies of previous Suicide Squad members. Having their souls and having this Lazarus resin, it is the perfect combination to continue bringing back Suicide Squad members as you need them. And though this is harsh, cruel, unthinkable, this is Amanda Waller and the extent she is willing to go to ensure that she has everything she needs to protect Earth-3 and create this perfect Earth. Now we're picking up with Peacemaker, currently out of comms, unable to connect with Amanda Waller, with anybody at this point, but he doesn't know what he's going to do. But he does know that he is walking away from the Suicide Squad, telling Amanda Waller that she can do her worst. But this is when he hears a voice behind him, the voice of Rick Flag, telling him he knows exactly what he is going to do because he is a member of the Suicide Squad, and they are about to bring some peace down on Amanda Waller. Alright gang, so we are picking up on Task Force X Island, location unknown. And Amanda Waller is prepping her Suicide Squad to go into space because their next mission, it takes them to the far reaches of the universe. But as they are preparing for this launch, Amanda Waller is being informed that some black site prisons had been compromised, and there were some individuals that were kidnapped. Some of those individuals being Mirror Master Cheetah, Lord Zod, and a parademon. And they both know who is responsible for this. That is Rick Flag. Now, Amanda Waller tells her that she needs to start focusing on the mission. But at the end of the day, she doesn't even feel like this Suicide Squad has the right stuff to get this job done, let alone be astronauts going into space on some secret space heist. And we see our lineup. All of them moving in slow motion, or at least that's what Ambush Bug lets us know that they are doing. We have Major Force, Noctura, we have Superboy, aka Match, Talon, Culebra, Black Siren, and like I mentioned before, the good old-fashioned fourth wall breaker Ambush Bug. But that's what will pick us up in the Atlantic Ocean, picking up with Rick Flag and all of the individuals that he has saved. Our parademon and his ship are leading them somewhere that's going to help them with all of their future endeavors in taking down Amanda Waller. And that is because they are looking not for a something, but a someone. With Rick Flag suiting up, going down into the water, he has come to free somebody that has been imprisoned by Amanda Waller. That somebody is the Fisherman, being locked away down here in his prison, left here for such a long time. He is giving the Fisherman the opportunity to go after Amanda Waller, and he takes that in a heartbeat. Now, picking back up with our crew, they're making their way up to the ship. This is a ship Amanda Waller had found on Earth-424, an old Kryptonian ship that will hopefully get them to their destination. And as they are making their way up, Ambush Bug, he's making his jokes. He's joking about how this is a comic book, how this is this, how this is that. Everyone just thinks he's absolutely insane. And Major Force gets tired of all his bantering, grabs Ambush Bug, and throws him over the side. And so with Match jumping off, going and grabbing him, bringing him back up to the platform, Amanda Waller, she zaps all three of them, telling Culebra to remind them when they wake up to stay on mission, and also reminding her that she needs to get exactly what Amanda Waller wants, or she will make sure that Culebra stays dead, because she is one of the individuals that was resurrected. That's why they ended up going down to hell, collecting those souls so they could reuse them. And so with our crew on board, with liftoff initiated, we see them flying off into space. Now, as they're going up here, Match and Noctura, they're having a conversation, and the conversation is really Match just having Major Force under his skin. But she tells him to remember what I told you, and that is to kill him in the field and make it look like an accident. And what's really great here is we're seeing a bond, a relationship really forging between these two. And we even see Ambush Bug come in
and recognize, we don't usually get some kind of romance or love connections, especially in the Suicide Squad lines. But it really is an awesome thing to see that Match and Noctura, in all of this craziness, in all of this chaos, and under this control of Amanda Waller, that they still find those times for those small little emotions because they connect with one each other in such a great way. Now, picking up on the other side of the ship, we have Culebra, and right now she's beating herself up because at the end of the day, she was brought back to life. She feels like a freaking zombie right now. And she lets Talon know that there are not enough who's in the world to make her feel better right now. Because at the end of the day, when she died, her soul went to hell, which makes her the bad guy. And Talon finally breaking his fake-induced psychosis, he lets her know that she's really not that bad. Just like he is really not crazy. With Culebra being completely caught off guard, saying, "I knew it. I've known it the whole time. You have been faking it." But he tells her to keep her voice down and just listen. Because when they get back from this mission, they are going to need Culebra's help. And that is because Rick Flag has been working with Talon, has been working with the Good Doctor that is working hand in hand with Amanda Waller. And all of these individuals working together are planning on bringing her down. But that's when our spaceship, it finally reaches its destination. And its destination is the planet Oa, home base to the Green Lantern Corps. But right now, it is currently in such turmoil after the central battery had been tampered with, it exploded. Most of our Green Lanterns lost the power of the ring. And so now Oa really is an open field for thieves and miscreants, individuals like Amanda Waller to take advantage of. And so with them activating their cloaking device, they descend down onto the planet's surface. But they are not looking for anything that is on the surface of the planet. They are about to dive into the water because they are looking for the prison cells. Because our team has come to rescue an Owen prisoner, someone the Green Lanterns had locked away in their psi cells very long time ago. And with our Suicide Squad descending down into the depths, they're looking around and it doesn't seem to be any kind of guards, nothing standing by. It looks like it was going to be pretty easy for them to walk in, walk out with this prisoner and not have anybody coming against them. Or at least that is what they thought. Until our giant squid octopus protector of the depths comes in and starts wreaking havoc on all of them. With all of them getting entangled in tentacles, they are doing their best to try to get out of this situation. And they are all telling Ambush Bug to get them inside the facility. Because he's a teleporter, that's exactly what he can do. He can just pop them into this facility. One of the main reasons that he is here in the first place. But with all of this chaos going on, this is where we see the arrival of our Green Lantern Joe, being one of the few individuals that still has the power of the Green Lantern Corps. She lets them know that she is here to arrest all of them. And so while our Suicide Squad goes against our Green Lantern, we have Major Force and Ambush Bug popping into the facility. And with Major Force now being inside, he lets Ambush Bug know that he had served his purpose and now it is time for him to finish what he had started. And as he goes to kill him, this is where Ambush Bug, he vanishes. He just pops right out of there. And with him disappearing, Major Force is left with a bunch of security drones that are making their way to him, and he is going to have to fight his way out. With Ambush Bug popping up in the exact location of where he needs to be, outside the prison cell of the individual they have come to free. Now, we can't pronounce his name because it just doesn't make any sense. But Ambush Bug says he's just going to call him Yorick. And Ambush Bug lets him know that he has come to help him get out of this place. Now, Yorick lets us know that, it's really not that bad. He hasn't really been mistreated down here, but he does have an urge to just go out there and do evil. And so Ambush Bug grabbing his hand, they teleport out of this facility. Back in the water, we have Culebra, the Suicide Squad, going against our Green Lantern. And really, they're just doing their best to hold off the Lantern until Ambush Bug and Major Force have got our prisoner out of this place. Now, manipulating the mind of our giant squid, they convince it to attack the Green Lantern. And this gives our Suicide Squad the opportunity to run away. With Major Force coming and piling out the side of this facility, he looks around for Ambush Bug. But Ambush Bug has already teleported himself onto the jump ship. Culebra begging him to not leave them here. That if Ambush Bug was to leave them here, who is going to play with him and all of their toys back at Waller's place? But of course, Ambush Bug, he's not leaving them behind. He goes down to the surface and gets ready to have everyone come on board. As they're getting into the ship, they see the individual that was supposed to be taken from here. None of them knowing who this person is. Ambush Bug says this is just Yorick. And they have to ask, what is that walking nightmare doing to our ship right now? And Ambush Bug lets them know that he is currently making modifications to the ship because something is about to happen and we are gonna need these modifications. And this is where we see the United Planet Forces completely opening up everything they have on their ship. And it appears that the Suicide Squad's Kryptonian ship goes up in flames. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 10, we are picking up with a little bit of a backstory of Culebra. Growing up as a young girl, she ended up getting bit by a venomous snake. And because of this bite, she was suffering. It appeared that she might even die, her mother negotiating with a very shady individual, this man offering her a cure that could save her daughter's life. The only trick to it is that they would be allowed to experiment on her in any way, shape, or form. Her mother agreeing to this just to save her life. She survived, and she became the villain known as Culebra. Because once Spiral was done treating her, she had these powers. And so they offered her a deal. In exchange for keeping her family safe, she would go out and she would break the law. She was trained. She was molded. She tried to hold on to the person she might have been. But after years of this continuous abuse, her outcome was inevitable. And that is what landed her in jail. Completely discarded. That is when Amanda Waller came to find her. Joining the Suicide Squad, she ends up dying. And now Amanda Waller has brought her back to life. And without her medication, it is a good chance she is going to die again. The medication being held by Major Force. Now that is where we pick up with our Suicide Squad. They are currently floating out in space, not having a ship, not having any kind of way home. They have no idea what they are going to do. But the one thing they have to focus on right now is staying out of custody of the United Planets and the Green Lanterns. With the United Forces planets descending down upon them, we see a fight break out, our Suicide Squad doing every effort to try to stay above in this fight. And these guys are jamming their communication so they can't even get a hold of Amanda Waller to let her know what is going on and try to send some kind of contingency. With the Suicide Squad being overrun, with the forces being too great, they are doing everything they can just to keep their heads above water. That is until we have the arrival of our Green Lantern Joe. With a giant blast of light, our Suicide Squad find themselves in the belly of a giant, monstrous light construct. And so with them being captured by Joe, they are put into one of the science cells. A cell that is in a classified location. And now our Suicide Squad, they are all locked up, not really knowing how they're going to get out of here, how this is going to have a good outcome for them. We see Noctera and Match, they really seem to be clicking. They really seem to be getting along in such a great way. The relationship has truly been building this entire time. Now, we're not sure if this is Noctera really manipulating Match, or if she legitimately has some kind of feelings for him. Regardless, we see them in prison together, the two of them embracing one another, the two of them kissing, and the two of them, they vow that when they get out of here, that they will free themselves from Amanda Waller's grasp, be free of the Suicide Squad, and go and live their own lives. Now, with Siren and Major Force stuck in a cell together, they have a quick conversation, the conversation being on the terms of Culebra, because Major Force lets them know that they are exactly where Amanda Waller wanted them to be, and he holds a little box in his hand, a box containing the pills that would keep Culebra alive. And in the cell with Talon and Culebra, we see Culebra collapse. With her falling down to the ground, this is where she dies. And with her dying, her ghost rises out of her body. Going into the cell with Major Force, Major Force lets her know that she knows, or she will know exactly what she is looking for once she gets there. As she passes through the cell with Ambush, Bug, and Yorick inside, Yorick is letting us know that he is working with Major Force, working on something that he asked him to do, and that is trying to find a way home. And we see that Yorick, he did something, but he is able to manipulate some kind of aspect of space and able to recreate, bring together their ship. The ship that had been completely obliterated, that was sitting in pieces all in space, we see it come back together. With the ship now being complete, we see it make a hightail directly for their location. And so as the Suicide Squad, they sit here and they wait patiently. Noctera and Match both plotting what they are going to do, how they're going to take Amanda Waller down. Culebra finds herself going through all of these cells, only to end up in one location with a very, very unique individual. That individual being Black Hand. And this was the mission. The only one knowing about it was Major Force, knowing that this is the location that they would bring them, hoping this would be the outcome. That way they can rescue Black Hand for whatever the heck Amanda Waller has in store for him. And this is when the ship comes inbound, with the ship coming in and blasting a hole right in the side of the wall of this prison. The ship makes its landing, and the Suicide Squad now has their exit. And they have exactly what they have came for. They have the technology from OA, and now they have Black Hand. And so with our Suicide Squad now back on their way to Earth, Talon letting Culebra know that will be the last time that she ever has to die. Match and Noctera planning to find some kind of way to free themselves from Amanda Waller's grasp. We pick up with Amanda Waller, and she lets us know that finally all of the pieces are in play. And at this point, it appears that there is nothing that can stop Amanda Waller. Nothing except for maybe Rick Flag and the Suicide Squad that he has been forming on the side in the shadows to take down Amanda Waller. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are finding out exactly what has been going on with Bloodsport. He has been working in the background, working as a solo guy, working on these solo missions for Amanda Waller. While this little makeshift Suicide Squad has been out there taking care of business, he has been working on all the little side missions that she has set up for him. All the missions that can be done by someone with his technical expertise. But Bloodsport lets us know that while he's been doing all of these side missions, while the Suicide Squad has been too busy fighting at each other's throats, no one is seeing what he is seeing. Amanda Waller, she is slipping. That she has been so focused on her goal that she is getting lost in all of the details. This would be the perfect time for any of them to escape. Bloodsport, he knows this, yet he is still here. He is still doing her bidding. But for Bloodsport, he says that he never actually had a choice. And at the end of the day, Amanda Waller has him beat. And so he continues doing these missions, doing one after the other. On one of these missions, he runs into the one and only Peacemaker. And Peacemaker, he has been waiting for him for quite some time now. Making this short and sweet, he breaks it down to him. He knows Amanda Waller has gone too far, that the closer she gets to her goal, the more details slip by her, and they both know the devil is in the details. Letting him know Colonel Rick Flag, he has assembled his own squad, and he's getting ready to take on Amanda Waller, with Peacemaker being sent to grab Bloodsport. And what they do know about Bloodsport is that he no longer has a bomb in his neck. And so that begs the question, why are you still doing this? What does Amanda Waller have over your head that would make you continue working for this psychopath? Now, back at Task Force X Island, location unknown, Amanda Waller is getting ready to enact everything that she has been preparing for. And with everything getting closer and closer, are Dr. Rodriguez, who has been working hand in hand with Amanda Waller this entire time. She is a double agent. She has been working also with Rick Flag, giving them inside information and an opportunity to take down Amanda Waller. Recognizing that she is ready to enact her plan, Dr. Rodriguez is becoming very nervous, anticipating and waiting for this moment where Rick Flag attacks. Getting in communication with Rick Flag, he lets Dr. Rodriguez know that they are waiting, that they cannot go in without their last weapon, that this will all be for naught if they do not have this individual with them. That individual being Bloodsport. Rick Flag will not go in, regardless of the team he has assembled. That is the last piece to his puzzle, and lets them all know that Peacemaker right now is trying to get Bloodsport to side with them. Now, of course, that's going a little bit sideways because we jump over to them and they are right in the middle of a fight. Bloodsport had given him the opportunity to walk away, but Peacemaker, of course, he's not gonna do that. And so, the two of them, they begin to duel it out, and we pick back up at Task Force X Island. And we have Dr. Rodriguez going to both Talon and Culebra, asking them if they have been in contact with Rick Flag, with them also telling her that they just need to wait. Of course, she is very impatient, but Talon gives her a knife and says, if you want to end this, if you want to do it yourself, go ahead and do it. Take this knife and go take care of it. But if you're not going to, you need to wait like Rick Flag says so. Meanwhile, our Suicide Squad, they are still at each other's throats. And that is because Major Force has been added to the team. And he is not a team player, he's a legit bad guy. And at this point, Noctera, Match, everybody just wants to rip Major Force's head off. But Amanda Waller, she comes into the room and lets them know that if anybody does anything, she's blowing up some heads. And that they have a new mission. They are headed to Earth-3 to face some bad guys. And with them landing on Earth-3, they find themselves in some kind of vault. A vault that is absolutely filled with riches and gold. Not sure what's going on, not sure why they are here. We see Match punch his way out of this place, only to be met by the Retaliators, the Defenders of Earth-3, with the Defenders letting them know that they are under arrest for trying to rob this bank, not giving the Suicide Squad the opportunity to even defend themselves. We see the fight break out. Meanwhile, picking up with Peacemaker and Bloodsport, their fight is still continuing on. And Bloodsport, he really is trying to figure out what is different about Peacemaker? What made him all of a sudden decide to grow a conscience? But what happened to him is what happened when he went after the Swamp Thing. The Swamp Thing gave him his freedom, took that bomb out of his neck. And so it didn't just free him from Amanda Waller, but he had freed himself. He had lost everything. It led him to believe that peace was the only answer for the world, for his pain. But there is always another war. There is always another bad guy. There will always be another Amanda Waller. But until Waller is removed, none of them can actually be free. With them still continuing their fight, Bloodsport lets him know that he can't help. He can't help because Amanda Waller has his brothers. Every single brother on every single Earth. Every Earth in the multiverse, Amanda Waller has taken his brother hostage. So even without a bomb in his neck, Bloodsport has no choice. He either fights for Amanda Waller or he loses his brother in all realities, in all existence. This is why Bloodsport continues to fight for Amanda Waller even without a bomb in his neck. Now, picking up with the Suicide Squad, they are currently facing off the Retaliators. But this goes sideways, and it goes sideways very quickly. Because while most of them have a no-kill rule, that rule does not apply to Major Force. And so Major Force, he begins to kill the Retaliators, and Match tries to stop him. So Amanda Waller currently waiting to see what happens with the Suicide Squad. Rick Flag waiting for his opportunity to bring in Bloodsport. Everything is building up. Everything is preparing for this one moment. With Bloodsport getting the upper hand on Peacemaker. Peacemaker bleeding on the ground, getting ready to be executed. He has one last thing to say to Bloodsport. One last thing to tell him before he is put out of his misery. And with a gun to his head, that is where we pick up with Major Force just wreaking havoc on the Retaliators. Starting to kill them off one by one, we see the Retaliators, they make their retreat. They get out of here before any more lives are lost. Unlucky for them, this was just Squad 1. This is where we see the lightning strikes. We have Fangman, Thrill Kill, Dead Red, Blood Punch, and a few other individuals. Now they have come to face against Major Force. Since he wanted to take it to that level, since he wanted to start murdering individuals, this is where the real fight begins. And this appears to be exactly what Amanda Waller was waiting for. Recognizing this new squad has showed up, this is the main event. This is what everything has been building to. And as this fight is about ready to get underway, this is when the alarms start to go off, letting them know that there is an intruder. And on the shoreline, we see from the water, the new Suicide Squad. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 12, we are picking up with Rick Flag and his team. They are descending down on Amanda Waller, with Rick Flag believing that he is the only individual that is possibly able to stop her, always knowing that it would come down to this. Amanda Waller knowing the same, which means she has more than one plan to stop Rick Flag. And Rick Flag knows exactly what she is up to, kidnapping villains from across the multiverse, putting bombs in their neck, and sending them on these suicide missions, all in her goal to take over Earth-3. And with Amanda Waller's Suicide Squad currently away on Earth-8, this is the perfect time for Rick Flag and his squad to make their attack. Meanwhile, picking up on Earth-8. This is kind of like the Marvel Earth, if you will. These are all plays on Marvel characters. For legal reasons, they can't actually say that. But we see individuals like Dead Red, we see Thrill Kill, we see Blood Punch, we see Fangman. These guys are all really more or less alternate versions of our Suicide Squad. But as this fight is breaking out, as we have Match, aka Superboy, letting Nocterra know that they don't have to actually kill these guys. While Amanda Waller said no mercy, that doesn't mean murder. Of course, Major Force, he is over there not really giving a crap. And to be completely honest, Major Force isn't even caring if he kills his own squad mates. And so with all of the chaos ensuing, we pick back up on Earth-8, with Rick Flag and his team making their arrival on the island. Amanda Waller doesn't seem to be sweating in the least, telling her guards, telling her people that they need to stick to the plan, that the plan still is in act, they just have to move up the timeline. Telling them to get everyone where they need to go, and when you find Dr. Rodriguez, make sure that you put a bullet in her, because this whole time, she has been working on the inside for Rick Flag. And as Dr. Rodriguez is able to break the security system just long enough for Rick Flag to be able to make his entrance into the facility, this is where the guards, they find her, and they litter her with bullets. With Dr. Rodriguez being taken down, Rick Flag loses communication, and Peacemaker goes in to find out where the good doctor went. Meanwhile, Bloodsport and Rick Flag, they are making their way to Amanda Waller, and taking us back to Earth-8. It looks like our Suicide Squad has overcome the villains of Earth-3, with most of them being taken out of the fight. We see Major Force, he goes extreme. He starts murdering all of them one by one. Recognizing how he is killing everyone, Match lets them know that they need to stop Major Force. And with Match and Noctura headed directly for Major Force, they have to be intercepted by Dead Red. Him coming in and just wreaking havoc because his friends were just murdered. And Major Force, he has his eyes on Black Siren, letting her know that she doesn't belong here, and he is going to make this quick. And bringing us to Amanda Waller, her guards are letting her know that Dr. Rodriguez, she had been found. The only issue is, she is still alive, and she is with Peacemaker. But Amanda Waller, she is letting everyone know to focus on the 2 individuals that she has marked on the team, and everyone else needs to make their evac because they are done here. And shooting us back over to Earth-3, this is where we have Major Force versus Match. And the reality is, our Superboy clone, he is no match for Major Force. With Match getting the crap beat out of him, this is where we see Black Siren interject. Using her scream, she rips apart Major Force. And as Amanda Waller watches on the screen, she's a little bit disappointed because the reality is, she really wanted to use Major Force for what comes next. And as Amanda Waller goes to push down on that red button for Black Siren, the button that will detonate the bomb in her neck, she clicks it once, she clicks it twice, and she is recognizing that Rodriguez had shut off the bombs. And so for at least the time being, Amanda Waller has no leverage over her Suicide Squad. And so with Amanda Waller making her exit, we have Rick Flag and the rest of his team, they show up and they see that the other Suicide Squad, they're not here. Believing maybe it was just a one-way ticket, Dr. Rodriguez lets them know that they can get that squad back if they find Amanda Waller. Recognizing that there is an evacuation on the south side of the island, Rick Flag and his team, they hightail it trying to catch up with Waller. Meanwhile, back on Earth-3, and we have Major Force taken off of the board, and the rest of Lightning Strikes, they made their escape before any worse could happen. At first unable to reach Amanda Waller through comms, Match is finally able to get through to her, letting them know that she saw exactly what transpired. And Match lets her know that you need to bring us back because at the end of the day, we may not be the Suicide Squad you wanted, but we are the only ones that you currently have. And Match has come to the understanding that none of them are dead yet. So either you want us alive or you can't kill us. And telling her that it is time to bring us home so we can sit down and have a discussion. Amanda Waller letting him know that she had such high hopes for him, giving him a personality, giving him a purpose. He could have been the real deal. He could have been Superman. But the truth is, he has made the Suicide Squad soft. That he is nothing and that nothingness, it is spreading around to the rest of the team. Saying that he went as far as declawing Noctura with his nonsense. But she lets Match know that she doesn't need his personality and she doesn't need Nocturna. That Bizarro Boy works perfectly fine for her. And this is where we see Match, he begins to disappear. We see Talon, we see Black Siren, they all vanish. And everyone else, they get left here on Earth-3. Saying that the rest of them, they are just dead weight. And they can all sit here and rot and wait until her arrival. That she has some other matters she needs to attend to before she takes care of them. And picking up on the island, Amanda Waller, she is met by the team of Rick Flag. And they let her know that this fight, it is finally over. And as they go to arrest her, they quickly recognize that this is just a projection. Amanda Waller is not here. She is already steps ahead of them. And being steps ahead of them, this is when the ground begins to move. The earth begins to shake, with Amanda Waller already on Earth-3. This is where we see Clayface make his arrival. The Clayface from Earth-23. And Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad, they are in for it. With all of them in the clutches of Clayface, it doesn't look good for them. It looks like this might be the end of Rick Flag and his squad. Because Amanda Waller, she knew. Rick Flag only ever saw the mission. But Amanda Waller, she sees the end game. And that is where they are now. This is the end game. She has broken every law, burned every single bridge to ensure she has the last bet, that she has the winning move. And now with Superboy aka Match being completely wiped of personality, assuming she messed with the minds of all of them, so they are now on board for the mission ahead. Our story is going to continue in the war for Earth-3. Alright gang, so as we dive into this very limited series, we are picking up on Earth-3, and we have Ultraman and Power Ring. They are both sitting here being celebrated. The entirety of the crime syndicate are being celebrated for 10 years of being in control. 10 years of tyrannical dictatorship. And the truth of the matter is that Ultraman, he is tired of all of this. The day in, day out of government diplomacy and trying to keep a society running is not really what he signed up for, because what he wanted was to feel like a god. He wanted to be worshipped. And so finding himself just completely bored, he burns this place down to the ground, incinerating everyone and everything around him. He takes off, and right now downtown Metropolis, they have a portal opening up, and we see an entire army coming out of the gateway. And this army, it is being led by Amanda Waller. This is the army that she has amassed over this entire time, having Bloodsport go from multiverse to multiverse, grabbing individuals, using Lazarus resin to bring some of them back to life. She has an entire army of villains and individuals spanning all of time, and they all have one goal in mind. They are taking Earth-3, with Match aka Superboy not really wanting to play ball. We see Etrigan the Brainiac 666 use some magic on him and turns him more or less into freaking Grundy. And so as if this wasn't a spectacle enough, Amanda Waller taps into every satellite, puts her face on every screen, and lets it be known that they are here to liberate. And that once everything is said and done, you won't have to worry. Your world, your Earth will be safe. But today, it is going to come with great violence. And so with all of this currently going on, Ultraman, he doesn't find himself concerned with that. His eyes are on Gotham City. And that is because right now, Superwoman, she is finding herself entertained by Owlman. And Superwoman, she is doing this just to get under the skin of Ultraman, just to make him mad, to see his temper rise. This is all but a game to her, with Power Ring trying to let him know what is going on down in the city. Ultraman, he cares not. Going and heading straight for Gotham, he tells Power Ring to go deal with Amanda Waller and whatever it is on his own. And so Power Ring going in, he doesn't hold back any punches. And honestly, this is just a bloodbath. Power Ring is just mowing through all kinds of heroes, vigilantes, and anti-heroes alike, ripping through the entire army that Amanda Waller has. This is something Amanda Waller, she anticipated. She knew exactly what she was going up against. She knew exactly what the odds would be. And for Power Ring, she brought a secret weapon. And from behind Power Ring, we see Black Hand. And with a single touch, we see Power Ring, he is brought down to his knees. With one member of the crime syndicate taken down, Amanda Waller asks, who is next? And that is what takes us to the Owl Cave. With Ultraman coming in, crashing this party, he rips the ceiling right off of this nest. and he lets both of them know that he has had enough, destroying much of Owlman's equipment to include his Owlmobile. Superwoman can't help but just laugh her face off, because this is exactly what she wanted. She wanted to get under his skin, she wanted to make him mad, she loves making him tick. Amanda Waller coming through their audio, popping up on the television screen, because the power ring had given her the address, or more or less the phone call frequency, to get in communication with them. And she is just letting them know that power ring has been taken down, with Ultraman and Superwoman still not really caring about this situation. They go ahead and they send in Owlman. Let him handle this, because he should be competent enough to take care of whatever threat this is. And so, sending him in, we see him come flying in on his owl ship. And again, we see somebody who is just massacring the army of Amanda Waller. And that is a reason that Amanda Waller had brought so many individuals. They are all disposable, all people that she is more than willing to throw away for her end goal. And with Siren knocking Owlman out of the sky, he comes crashing down, and he finishes him off. Amanda Waller now having Owlman and Power Ring captured, we pick back up with Superwoman and Ultraman. And Ultraman is really just telling Superwoman that you need to stop all of these games, because one day I'm not gonna stop myself. One day, eventually, I'm just gonna rip you in half. And this doesn't stop her from teasing him. This doesn't stop her from wanting to continue this little game that she plays with him. But before the two of them can get really hostile about this argument, we have Amanda Waller chiming in yet again, letting Ultraman and Superwoman know that they now have two members of theirs tied up. And this situation, it does kind of make Superwoman mad, because Superwoman, she is very egotistical and territorial. While she may toy with Owlman and Ultraman, at the end of the day, she believes that they are only hers to toy with. And so Amanda Waller having Owlman tied up, it absolutely infuriates her. Now, taking us away from Earth-3 just for a second, we are picking up on Earth-0, and we have Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad. Now, Rick Flag, he has tasked himself with taking down Amanda Waller, believing that she has gone too far, with the entire US government after her, every agency trying to hunt her down. Rick Flag has taken it upon himself to create his own Suicide Squad and go after her. The only problem, they ended up face to face with a Clayface kaiju, and we last left off with the team. They were in absolute distress, and that has not changed. Their only weapon truly being Zod. He is what is able to break them away. They're not able to defeat Clayface. He is simply trying to get them out of his grasp. And Rick Flag, he was supposed to have some backup. That backup was supposed to come in the form of Dr. Rodriguez. And right now, Dr. Rodriguez, she is trying to get in communication with him, but things are just too crazy. They are too hectic. And so, as a last resort, we see her inject herself with a serum. Supposedly, it is supposed to give her powers. And as she goes to run off, we see her begin to turn into sand, with Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad quickly recognizing that they can't beat Clayface. The only thing they can do is maybe banish him to the Phantom Zone. With Zod opening up a portal, we see the Phantom Zone, it begins to suck everything in. And as the Clayface kaiju begins to go in, so does Cheetah, so does Zod. And as all of them begin to fly into the Phantom Zone, we see Clayface randomly drop out of the sky, maybe being too big. It doesn't really go into detail on why Clayface wasn't sucked into the Phantom Zone. We just see the portal close up, and then Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and Rick Flag are face to face with our kaiju. And that is what's going to take us back to Earth-3, floating above the city, believing that Owlman and Power Ring were competent competent enough to take care of Amanda Waller, they are quickly recognizing that is not the case. And so, with Superwoman and Ultraman charging into battle, we have Match who goes toe-to-toe with Superwoman, grabbing a hold of her and launching her into the sky. Match's only job is to keep Superwoman busy, to keep her preoccupied, with Ultraman down on the ground just wasting people, burning them alive, because they wanted Ultraman. Amanda Waller called him out, and so he is here. But as Ultraman is trying to kill Amanda Waller, he is unable to hit her, not understanding what is going on, almost as if these are mirages. One second she is here, the next she's 100 yards away. But after a couple of times of doing this is when Ultraman recognizes that there is a speedster in the midst. That speedster is the one and only Johnny Quick. Now we know that Johnny Quick, he died. We saw his death, and Ultraman, he buried him. So the question now stands, how are you alive right before me? But Johnny Quick tries to tell him that it does make sense. All of this is going to make sense if you just hear Amanda Waller out. And as we head back to Earth-0, our Suicide Squad are still entangled with Clayface. Their only saving grace just happens to be Dr. Rodriguez, with her coming in looking like Sandman from Marvel. 20 stories tall herself, she goes in and she hugs Clayface, embracing him and bringing him into her arms. She calms him down, she relaxes him. Like a giant, terrified baby, we see Clayface go into dormancy. Dr. Rodriguez essentially babied him to sleep. And so now with their Clayface problem being taken care of, and Dr. Rodriguez now really having abilities and powers, we pick back up on Earth-3. The conversation between Amanda Waller and Ultraman. And Amanda Waller lets him know that she doesn't think he wants to rule this world. Not really. He wants the respect. He wants the spoils of war. But he doesn't want to deal with policy. He doesn't want to deal with law enforcement. Governing, she says, is truly beneath him. But it is not beneath her. And she's not here to trick him. She's not here to try and take his power, feeding his ego, saying that there is no way she could ever do this. At the end of the day, he is a god. There is no way that she could ever control him. Not with any army, no matter the case. And what she does want is his distractions, all of his frustrations, the things that he doesn't want to deal with on a day in, day out basis. She wants to take all of the grunt work. This world, it will belong to Ultraman, but he can be a god and not a king, and let Amanda Waller handle all of the rest. For example, this is where she has Talon grab hold of Owlman, grabbing him, putting him above his head. He brings him down at the snap of Amanda Waller's fingers. And we hear the crunch. We see the break as Owlman is almost broken in two. This is Amanda Waller proving that she is a problem solver for Ultraman and not a nuisance. This is something that Ultraman always wanted to do, but didn't want the others to turn on him. But with Amanda Waller taking the blame, it can all be focused on her. And our other Suicide Squad, run by Rick Flag on Earth-0, now out of the grasp of Clayface. It is time that they made their move, ready to do whatever it takes. We see them open up a gateway, and what is remaining of this Suicide Squad, they charge headfirst into Earth-3. What they did not expect to see is Amanda Waller standing directly in front of them, and behind her is her brand new Justice League. Alright gang, so where we last left off, Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad, they had made their arrival on the scene, getting to Earth-3 thinking that they are going to stop Amanda Waller, that is, until they run into the crime syndicate. Now this comic is going to be jumping back and forth a little bit. With the first opening pages, we are seeing Rick Flag, Bloodsport, and a few others. They are all looking a hot mess right now, and that is because they barely escaped with their lives from Earth-3. And showing us everything that was transpiring on Earth-3, we see the crime syndicate really just mopping the floor with Rick Flag and his team, because the truth is, they did not expect to find a murderous Superman. They didn't expect to find a Justice League on the other side that is sided with Amanda Waller, going over to Earth-3 in hopes just to stop her. Now they're recognizing that it is far too late, and now this Suicide Squad is doing everything they can just to be able to escape. We see Ambush Bug and Peacemaker. The two of them, they pop into a location somewhere in a karaoke bar, because the two of them, they were about to get freaking squashed, and Ambush Bug barely saved their lives. If he had not teleported them to this location, it would have been very likely that Power Ring would have crushed Peacemaker. And that's because the crime syndicate, they're not a Justice League. They are really just people with the powers of Justice League members. And the true thing about them is they will kill you in a split second. So with Ambush Bug getting Peacemaker out of there, we are shown Amanda Waller and a giant glass vat of what appears to be sand. This sand is Dr. Rodriguez, turning herself into Sandwoman, all in some kind of attempt to be able to help Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad stop Amanda Waller. But in all of the chaos, while they were having their battle with the crime syndicate, it really looked like she might have the upper hand, with her body changing at the molecular level, becoming a sand monster, hoping that this might be able to hold him. But the truth is, he is a freaking Superman, and so breaking free of her grip, he uses his heat vision and he begins to turn her into glass. But this gives Rick Flag and some of the others the opportunity to make their escape. With her turning into glass, they use Mirror Master and his abilities to transport them to a safe location. Unfortunately for Dr. Rodriguez, we see Ultraman smash that glass into pieces. And though Dr. Rodriguez, she lays here shattered, she is not dead, because the truth is, she is sand, and not even Amanda Waller actually knows how to kill sand. I guess theoretically you could turn her into glass and just keep her in that form, but then the question remains, can she break free in the glass form, so on and so forth. There's a lot we don't know about her abilities. I'm sure that we're going to be exploring much later on. And so with the majority of this Suicide Squad really being taken out, that is when we are taken to the depths of hell. We have the Brainiac Etrigan 666, and right now he has Superboy and Nocturne. They are currently down in hell, though they wouldn't really notice it because they are too infatuated with one another, not really caring where they are, finally accepting the relationship, finally accepting their feelings for one another. For them, it doesn't matter where they are just enjoying being together. And the two of them, they didn't really play any kind of big part in the battle we saw going on. For a while there, we had Superboy, aka Match. He was more of a bizarro than anything else. It wasn't until Nocturne was able to break this free of him, and in doing so, we see him come back. His personality is back, saving the girl that he loves. But in doing so, Etrigan Brainiac 666 was right behind them. And that is what brings us to Talon and Culebra, picking up after the fight had all gone down, with Amanda Waller believing that the two of them are still working for her. Right now, they are standing in front of a coffin that belongs to Owlman, because the truth is, or at least that is what appears to have happened. But the truth is, Talon had broke his back and made it look like he killed him under the orders of Amanda Waller. The truth is, he did not do this. this. He wanted to keep Owlman separate because Owlman is the closest thing they have to Batman on this planet. And if they want to take down the crime syndicate, Owlman is exactly how they do that. And as they sit here, we see Culebra. She begins to turn into a ghost, with Talon not really sure what happened. The truth of the matter is that she died during the battle. Johnny Quick just pummeled her to death. But as we know, Culebra has been able to come back as a ghost. This really not being explained, not in extreme depth anyway. But regardless, what we see is Owlman being extremely cocky, not wanting to help them. So Culebra, she literally possesses Owlman. And while he may be a complete idiot, he is a paranoid one, a vindictive one. And Owlman knows exactly how to take down Ultraman. With them being able to reach out to Ambush Bug and Peacemaker, they send them to the Ultraman's Fortress of Solitude, because inside of this place there is a weapon. That weapon is known as a Phantom Zone projector. This is their plan. This is their goal. They want to banish Ultraman to the Phantom Zone. And with them looking around and finding the projector, it seems things might be looking up for them. That is, until they actually look up and they see Superwoman, because this Fortress of Solitude, it does not belong to the one and only Ultraman. It belongs to Superwoman. And with her wasting no time, she goes in on Ambush Bug and Peacemaker. Ambush Bug trying to make an escape. The only issue is when he teleports, it makes a type of sound, a sound that Superwoman was able to pick up on. And so Ambush Bug, he gets taken down right here on the spot. Peacemaker as well. And the thing about all of this is Superwoman, she had no idea that these guys were even going to be here. Ultraman had given her the Phantom Zone projector as a gift a very long time ago. She kept it up here because she never really needed it. There was no reason for her to ever try to take down Ultraman. But things have now changed. And that is all because of Amanda Waller, believing that she broke Ultraman by them making that pact, by making that deal, murdering her pet, aka Owlman. And then Match had kept her preoccupied. Watching Owlman die though, that was the last straw. With Superwoman going in to take down Amanda Waller, we see Ultraman interfere, with him standing in the way. Superwoman, she came up here for the weapon that can take him down. Unfortunately for them, Amanda Waller and the crime syndicate, they already knew what was up, with the arrival of Johnny Quick coming in and grabbing the projector, grabbing it and being gone in a literal flash. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with Johnny Quick. Johnny Quick is currently under the orders of Amanda Waller, and he is headed to the Flash Museum. Johnny Quick was the one that convinced Ultraman to hear out Amanda Waller when she first came to this planet. And that's because he knows what is on the horizon. He knows the great darkness is headed directly for them. When he was stuck inside of the Speed Force, this is where he saw it. The end of everything. With Johnny Quick retrieving whatever item Amanda Waller was asking for that is inside of the Flash Museum, taking us over to Linda Park. She has recently found herself with speedster abilities. This coming out of absolutely nowhere. No one really understanding how this is happening. She has yet to tell anybody. Right now, she is speeding around the neighborhood looking for her children because they snuck out, not knowing they got kidnapped by the calculator. And in this kidnapping, they ended up eventually freeing themselves and then heading to Gem World to help out Wally West. So with Linda Park right now currently just losing her mind, trying to figure out what to do, but also trying to figure out what the heck is happening and how she got powers. This is where we see the arrival of all the children and Wally West. Of course, all of them have some great explaining to do. But first, they're gonna get Buddy's daughter out of here. Wally West grabbing her and out of here in a flash. Not sure if their mother is going to be severely disappointed in them. They both start just telling her everything. about how he got his powers back, about how he's going by the name of Surge now, about how they visited Gem World, they saw a dude with a half purple face. Like, they're just going into extreme detail about everything all at once. But that all goes silent as they embrace one another. With Linda terrified that something happened to them, she is just happy they're all okay. With the West family now whole again, we are taken to Iron Heights Penitentiary, not really giving us much detail, being extremely vague on what the purpose of this is. We are seeing Blacksmith released from prison and given a new mission. That mission is still classified to us. And honestly, this part of the comic, it threw me for a loop. This came out of nowhere, and they're just like, bam, Blacksmith's here. We're gonna do something with her. We're not gonna tell you what we're doing yet, but just know that Blacksmith is gonna be showing up and playing some kind of part in whatever is going on. Picking back up with Wally and Linda. With the kids down, they have a conversation over the course of the evening and the next morning. Them just talking about the kids, how Jai is terrified of Etrigan because he had punched him in the face when he was possessed by Eclipso. But what Linda is seeing more than anything is how much Wally is going. After everything he just experienced, he's concerned about his day job. After everything that has just happened, he also wants to take a break. He wants to slow down. He just wants to have a freaking nap and a day off. Linda really starting to recognize that maybe now is not the best time to let him know that, hey, I have speed. I'm a speedster now. And while she's debating on what the best course of action is, if she should try to tell him now or not, this is where Wally West gets the notification that the Flash Museum's alarms are going off. Quickly suiting up and heading out the door, Linda pretty much had her decision made for her. She's gonna hold on to this information, at least for the time being, and wait until it's a less hectic time to inform him of her new abilities. Flashing over to the Flash Museum, we have Johnny Quick making his way through here, and this is where he finds the Cosmic Treadmill. The only issue is, the one here on display, that is exactly what it is. It's a display model, it doesn't actually work. As he begins tearing this thing apart, trying to figure out where the real one might be, we have the arrival of Wally West, with the Flash telling him that he is trespassing. Johnny Quick, he saw him inside the Speed Force, and he is somebody that might have been in there longer than him. And so because of that, he is assuming that Wally West, he had to have seen the end of all things, that the darkness is coming for all of them. That's why Amanda Waller needs this treadmill. Wally at this point, he has no clue what the heck is going on. He doesn't really understand what Johnny Quick is trying to tell him. The only thing he heard out of all of that is Amanda Waller and Cosmic Treadmill. Those two words together is enough for Wally West to say no bueno. Johnny Quick truly does believe, though, that she is the only one who has a plan. He saw Wally West die. It was literally in between seconds, a flash of light, and Wally West disappeared. Johnny Quick simply stalling him, feeling the vibrations of the building, and through these vibrations, he is able to feel the Cosmic Treadmill underneath them. The two of them, they go phasing down into the basement. And while they do this, through a reflection in one of these mirrors, that is where we see Mirror Master making his way into the Flash Museum. He has been working with Rick Flag, so we can only assume that he is here to help out the Flash and take down Johnny Quick. The Flash and Johnny, they're going toe to toe. The Flash getting the wind knocked out of him. He is down only for a second. Johnny Quick makes his way to the treadmill. Hopping onto it, this is where he gets a punch in the face through the reflection on the screen that is on the treadmill. Mirror Master punching him and coming out. Wally West looking up and seeing that there is both Johnny Quick and Mirror Master. And the Flash goes in to try and stop him. Doesn't know what he's up to. Doesn't know anything that is going on right now. And while Mirror Master tells him that he doesn't understand the consequences if they get that treadmill, he throws his mirrors. The Flash is running in. His limbs start to come off in these mirrors. He is able to reverse himself back up just enough so that the mirrors aren't taking off his limbs. Jumping to an image of beforehand. Jumping to the time where Johnny Quick was brought out of the Speed Force. Etrigan Brainiac 666 and Amanda Waller were able to grab him and bring him. And he saw everything, telling Amanda Waller everything that happened. She swears that they are going to win, that if he does her bidding, they cannot lose this fight. Johnny Quick putting all of his faith into Amanda Waller and whatever scheme she has planned up. That is what brought him to the Cosmic Treadmill. Amanda Waller is planning to do something with it. With the Flash and Mirror Master too busy fighting one another, it gives Johnny Quick the opportunity to run over to the treadmill. And as soon as he hops on it, Amanda Waller teleports him and the machine out of this place. With Johnny Quick able to make his escape, Mirror Master turns to Wally West and he's more or less like, dude, like what the heck? Like you really do have no clue what is going on right now. And Wally admits that he's definitely been out of the loop. He hasn't heard anything about what's going on. And Mirror Master, he has no time to fill him in. Like literally no time. He has to get out of here and get back to Rick Flag, figure out what their next course of action is. As Wally looks around, doesn't really know what to make of this day, he's about to go find out exactly what is happening. Alright gang, so as we dive into part 4 of War for Earth 3, we are picking up with some of our students known as the Bat Pack. They see themselves as a young Dark Justice League. All of the students and many of the teachers, they are currently hidden away because of everything that happened with Red X. We found out that Brick was just one of the Red X's, and he was being mentored by another Red X, and we don't know his identity. But with him out there on the loose, they can't afford for anybody to be out in the open, believing that any of the kids, any of the teachers could be a target. Until they bring him in, everyone is having to be hidden away. We have Stitch Astro projecting herself to the classroom, Donna Troy trying to figure out where everybody is. Stitch telling the others that they need to get back to the classrooms. They all head off, not knowing that in that mirror, we have a hand reaching through. The hand belonging to Mirror Master. Picking up with Raven, we have Changeling and Cyborg. They are currently laying down on these tables. Both of them in very critical condition. The doctors are telling them that they might not survive. The best thing they can do for them is make them comfortable. And what will happen is going to happen. With Raven having a very hard time accepting this fact, we see the arrival of Gorilla Greg and Cybra, like a cyborg variant from Earth-12. And they have been racking their heads together. They have been trying to figure out a way that they can save these two. With Gorilla Greg giving his plan to the Star Labs people, they offer him a job right on the spot just for the theory. But his internship to the side, he comes up with some magnificent way to save both of them. Now, it doesn't really tell us the science or how he's going to do it. It just says Gorilla Greg and Cybra figure it out. And so while the two of them get to work on saving the lives of these two, Nightwing is returning, and right now he is just so concerned. Having Wally West, the Flash, here, they have called everybody they can to try and find Red X, but he has completely disappeared. He has gone ghost and there is no sign of him. Of course, Roy Harper, he has been behind on everything. He's just now realizing that Red X is still alive and everything going on. He's been completely out of the loop, but he is now back on board to help as much as he can. There has been a running theory that Red X could very well be Roy Harper. Now, it might fit into the timeline, it might not. Neither of them have been seen at the same place at the same time. Though I don't think it's a very solid theory, it's definitely a possibility. But at least for now, they believe that they are safe. This safe house is going to protect them and they have nothing to worry about. Little do they know, down in the basement, Mirror Master has found his way in. And with Mirror Master coming here, this brings Rick Flag and his Suicide Squad. Picking up with the Brat Pack playing hooky. They're skipping class and we see the arrival of Kid Flash. Wallace West comes running in, tells them that they need to get back to class. Wally West comes in behind him and tells them that he really shouldn't be so hard on these kids, but Wallace really wants to set an example. Meanwhile, Wally, he just wants them all to really just lay back, have some fun, especially with so much that has been going on. He is also trying to find a nickname for Wallace. Obviously, he doesn't want to go with Wally. He's trying to find something in between. It's failing miserably. Picking up downstairs, we have Bloodsport and Mirror Master. They have found the secret armory. This place is packed full of weapons. They are stealing everything that they can. That is, until they see Arsenal. Almost at the same time, we have Nightwing and Starfire running in to Boomerang. While Wally and Wallace are currently in the cafeteria, they're sitting down, they're going to have a bite to eat. This is when Rick Flag makes his arrival. Rick Flag, he doesn't look like he is trying to fight, but his Suicide Squad, they on the other hand, they are going all in. And while everybody is beating the crap out of each other, we see Rick Flag and Wally West, they come running into the room, letting everyone know that they need to stand down. Nightwing at this point, he doesn't really understand what's going on or why he wants them to stand down. The Flash lets Nightwing know that Rick Flag has come to ask a question. They have come humbly and respectfully asking for the help of the Titans. This drops the jaw of every single one of the Titans. All of them in complete disbelief. Rick Flag, he sits them down and he tells them everything. Everything with Amanda Waller, everything with her going to Earth-3, all of the odds that are stacked against them. Of course, the Titans, they are going to help in any way they can. Many of the kids, including Kid Flash, want to join in this fight. Starfire says that none of them can participate. This is going to be too dangerous, it's too risky. She is even going to have Kid Flash stepping out of this one. But outside of that, the Titans, they are ready to go. Hopping into their aircraft, Rick Flag's Suicide Squad and the Titans, joined together, are going to take on Amanda Waller and her Justice League. With them taking off and headed out, Wally West does let Dick Grayson know that he wasn't really on board with the idea of leaving Wallace behind, because Kid Flash, he's been through a lot. And though this is going to be a very dangerous mission, the truth of the matter, this is something that he could have handled. But Nightwing feels with everything going on with Red X, they're gonna need someone like Kid Flash left behind to protect the students just in case Red X decides to make his arrival. What they didn't know is the Brat Pack, they stowed away on the ship, not knowing what they were getting themselves into, just knowing that the Titans were headed out. They thought they were headed on an adventure, and technically they are, but this adventure, it is likely going to get them killed. Alright gang, so as we dive into the finale, we are picking up on Earth-3, and currently Ultraman, he is just watching everything unfold. Amanda Waller made him a promise that he wouldn't have to do anything. He would just be the God ruler above all. Amanda Waller taking care of the day-to-day, taking care of any nuisances, if you will. Those nuisances include the Rebel Suicide Squad, enlisting the help of Teen Titans as well as the Flash. They are trying with great effort to win this war. Even with Ultraman out of the picture, they are still having a hard time staying above water. With the battle raging on, we see Culebra, who has been a ghost. This really hasn't been explained either. She kind of just came back as a ghost. But being a ghost, she is able to possess people. We see her possess our Green Lantern, taking him over and charging full speed at Ultraman. All he does is stick out his arm, and Culebra is shot out of the body. The thing is though, Ultraman's not jumping in this fight. He is simply just walking through, and anybody that gets in his way, he's just pushing them away. Seeing this as mere insects fighting, he has no want or need to join into this. Meanwhile, Amanda Waller watching all of this unfold. This is where we see the Bat Pack. Now these guys are from Teen Titans Academy. They had snuck on the ship of the Teen Titans. I guess you could just call them Titans now, because they are the teachers, they are the mentors. They came here trying to put a stop to Amanda Waller. With her turning around and seeing the teenest of teens, she can't help but laugh hysterically. While all of this was going on, Harley Quinn and Mirror Master, they snuck into Amanda Waller's plans, taking the head of Yorick. And Yorick's really hard to explain if you haven't been keeping up with the Suicide Squad, but Yorick really is just kind of a random character that has been brought in that has advanced technology and advanced intelligence to do everything that Amanda Waller needs. As they sit here and discuss where Ultraman may be, because they want to keep eyes on him. If he decides to join this fight, it will be over in a matter of seconds. This is where Yorick's head turns on, not really understanding what is going on here. We pick back up with Amanda Waller watching out the window, and Deadshot takes a shot at her. With Parker stepping in front of her, Parker takes the bullet. With him going down, Amanda Waller, she initiates a very cruel and horrible tactic. And the off chance that Deadshot decided that he wanted to switch sides, to go against her. While the bomb in his head may not be active, the bomb in Talon's head, it definitely is. To teach them all a lesson, she detonates the head of Talon. Moreover, she has taken Deadshot's brother from all over the multiverse, having his body on the outside of this building, multiple versions all along the glass. This is a human shield that she has built up, and so if Deadshot doesn't decide to continue to work for her, every single version of his brother will die. At the Fortress of Solitude, we have Peacemaker, Ambush Bug, and Donna Troy of Earth-3. This Fortress of Solitude, it belongs to Superwoman. With her hating Ultraman as much as them right now, she came up here to get the Phantom Projector, only for Johnny Quick to steal it out from underneath them. Canary had knocked down the fortress, and Superwoman is the only thing keeping them alive right now. Peacemaker trying to wake up Ambush Bug, having some dialogue that ticks off Superwoman. She drops everything she has and she takes off. Ambush Bug able to teleport them out just in the nick of time. Taking us down to hell, we have Brainiac Etrigan 666. Imprisoning Match and Nocturna down here. This isn't really prison for them because now they just get to be together. Amanda Waller has come down to hell because she has a proposition for them. With Peacekeeper, Rick Flag, and Ambush Bug all meeting back up and knowing the location of Ultraman, they want to go pay him a visit. With him currently at the zoo, they have gone to have a conversation. And as he sees them rolling up with guns, he tells them like, no, you can't do anything, right? Like if I snap my fingers, you guys are gonna die. What Rick Flag has come here to do is convince Ultraman to go against Amanda Waller, telling Ultraman that he has been manipulated. You call yourself a god, you see yourself as the king of this planet, but the truth is, you are just a puppet. Amanda Waller, she is doing everything. The truth is, Amanda Waller, she has been manipulating you. She is currently just keeping you out of the way for whatever plan she actually has. Divulging that plan is to seal this planet off from the rest of the multiverse. Seeing the plans firsthand, he asks Ultraman, how do you not see that you are her superhuman puppet? And he's really not trying to offend him. Rick Flag is simply letting him know that he has been that puppet as well. Ultraman, in a fit of fury, he uses his heat vision and he demolishes tons of giraffes and zoo animals. Not really sure if this was the best of ideas. It is the only thing Rick Flag can think of to take down Amanda Waller. And that's what takes us to Waller's HQ. With the Titans and the Rebel Suicide Squad working together, they have now confronted Amanda Waller. With Deadshot, Match, Nocturna all by her side. This is not the only individuals they have. Having Yorick's body here, it is still operating, exposing the Bat Pack. Nightwing pleading with her not to hurt these kids. But Amanda Waller has no intention of doing that, saying that the only thing she ever wanted to do was keep people safe. And so if everybody comes inside, they will teleport them all back to their world. It will be free and clear. There is no catches, no obligations, just go home. Unfortunately for Amanda Waller, it's not going to be that simple. With Ultraman carrying half of a freaking skyscraper, he is livid. Now, of course, this isn't what Rick Flag wanted, though you really can't expect much different when you have a psychopathic Superman and you tell him that he is nothing more than a puppet to some regular person. With everyone rushing inside, they are doing their best to get everyone teleported out. And Nightwing really doesn't want to leave, but those kids are their first priority. Getting them to safety is all that matters. Rick Flag telling her that she tries to keep people safe, yes, but you do it by all means possible. There is nothing morally or ethically right about what you are doing. Matt's trying to let them know to just hear her out. Rick Flag proclaiming what could she possibly say? What she could possibly tell him that would make him change his mind about everything that has happened here. Amanda Waller exposing that she has the Phantom Projector. She always was going to double-cross Ultraman. And while she says she was going to do this regardless because he's a monster, Rick Flag refuses to accept that she is somehow the good guy in all of this. That it doesn't work this way. You don't get to play hero all of a sudden. And he just doesn't trust her. Amanda Waller saying that yes, she has done horrible things. And none of it, everything she has done was never enough. But she truly does believe that she can save Earth-3, these people on this planet. And the first step is stopping Ultraman, asking Rick Flag if he will team up with them this one last time. And even Nightwing chimes in, letting him know that he really does get it. Your mentor disappointed you, went way too far, over and over. But is today about today? And at this point, Rick Flag, he truly does feel like he's just losing his mind. Like, how can nobody else see what I am seeing? After everything she has done, everything she has manipulated, all of the deaths and the lives that she has taken to achieve this goal, and you guys are gonna sit back and say, well, she's the lesser of two evils. And so he takes that Phantom Projector and he smashes it on the ground. Not trusting her, not trusting the situation, not knowing what the inevitable outcome would be, he's not taking chances. And with Ultraman ripping down these walls, exposing Amanda Waller as he is about to take her out. This is where we see the arrival of Superwoman, knocking him across the face, letting him know how disgusted she is with him. Becoming Amanda Waller's puppet, letting her take everything from them that they have built. He was supposed to be a god, but he is nothing more than a man. As the two titans have their battle raging across the city, this gave them the window, an opportunity for Yorick to try and get the Phantom Projector back online. Amanda Waller telling them to turn the teleporters back online as soon as possible because she is getting out of here. Our heroes, of course, they cannot leave everyone in this world to this destruction, with Ambush Bug and Mirror Master going after Ultraman. The two of them flinging him from mirror to teleportation, from the bottom of the sea to a volcano to the moon. This is only going to slow him down temporarily. This gives them the opportunity to try to fix the Phantom Projector, connecting Yorick's head back to his body. This gives him the ability to figure out how to solve this problem. As our Rebel Suicide Squad, they move in on Ultraman, he is throwing up Kryptonite. Indulging in too much of it, he is starting to get into a weakened state, hoping that this would be their chance, their opportunity. Everyone makes a move on him, but no one is able to touch him. With the projector fixed and powered up by the lantern, we see it turned on and Ultraman is sucked into it, begging for Superwoman to help him out. Telling him he is pathetic, she watches as he gets sucked into this puck. And so while the battle against Ultraman has been completed, Rick Flag is going to leave the crime syndicate with the keys, hoping that they will rebuild to make it better. And Amanda Waller, she is MIA, with Talon and Calabra being ghosts. They're trying to figure out what they're gonna do next, and this is where Amanda Waller teleports back in. Match coming in and protecting her, taking Rick Flag's gun and breaking it in half. The Rebel Suicide Squad, the Titans, the Flash, they are all being teleported out of here. And now having Ultraman captured and encapsulated more or less, they are using him as a power source. because what Yorick has been building is a way to disconnect them from the multiverse. Having Ultraman trapped inside of this, using him as a battery, they now have the capability to do so. And with the press of a button, just like that, Earth-3 vanished adrift the multiverse cosmos. With Match now putting on the cape, this is everything Amanda Waller had promised him. A new world, a new opportunity, a real chance to forge their own identities. Not only that, if Amanda Waller steps out of line, they will be here to stop her. In the aftermath of a war for Earth-3, Amanda Waller has won. She took over the evil Justice League, conquered the entire planet, and plucked it out of the multiverse. And though Rick Flag and his rebel Suicide Squad, they attempted to stop her, they inevitably ended up helping her, and then she kicked them to the curb. As all of them get sent back to their Earth, what we find is Bloodsport landing with them, but he's not alone. She also sends all of the alternate universe's dead brothers of Bloodsport, teleporting them into Belle Reve. All of them go to regroup with Rick Flag, trying to figure out what they're gonna do next. How do we sort all of this out? But quickly and abruptly, this is where we see that Talon, who is a ghost, his purpose has been served, his time has come, and we see Talon fade away. They really haven't explained how this whole ghost idea works, because Culebra, she still technically is a ghost. And right now, all she wants is to get back into her body, with Mirror Master asking what the play is. The first thing Rick Flag does is destroys the keyboard or the control panel for all of their explosives. From now on, no matter what they do, it is their decision. Before they can do anything, before they can have any discussion, they have helicopters coming in. These Apaches are letting loose on the entire prison. Taking us weeks later, we have Rick Flag, who is currently recovering in a wheelchair in a hospital. But that doesn't mean missions aren't getting done. Having Peacemaker and Ambush Bug currently doing a hijacking from one truck to another, what we see is some kind of capsule, something that you would keep people inside of. They load all of these guys up, they make their way down the road, and it doesn't take long for these guys to start breaking out. These are appearing to be the Bizarro Match clones of Superboy. Amanda Waller had been making tons of him, and now with her gone, those assets have been left there. Not sure where they're going to, not sure what Rick Flag wants with these guys. Whatever they wanted, it doesn't look like they're gonna be getting it. Meanwhile, on a military base, we have Dr. Rodriguez. I guess now we can refer to her as Sandwoman, and she has snuck her way into a top secret military operation. Tons of ordnance, robots, weaponry, you name it, they got it here. Not being as sneaky as she thought she was, the alarms go off and she tries to make an escape, trying to get Rick Flag to call in some kind of backup, wondering where the heck Bloodsport has been. The truth is, he's been trying to find ways to get his brother's variants back to their realities, back to their multiverses. Because the truth is, they are driving him crazy. There are so many of them, they are occupying all of his space. Meanwhile, Mirror Master, he has been getting hammered, but he's also doing some missions. And in the process of doing one of these missions, this is where he gets caught up with the arrival of Chet Moneymaker. And what we see as well is that Culebra is using Mirror Master's body. With them more than likely unable to get her body, she had to go somewhere. Now, why she doesn't disappear, that is still completely unknown. Taking us back to Peacemaker and Ambush Bug. Right now, all of these clones are laying waste to this truck. We see Ambush Bug, he grabs each one of them and he takes them somewhere. Anywhere but here. Of course, this is gonna have some kind of ramifications, but we don't see it just yet. What we do see is that they are able to capture one of the Superboys, having him unconscious in the cab. Right now, they go careening over a cliff. On our military base, we have Sandwoman trying to fight off as many of these military as she can. From helicopters to tanks to Humvees, they are coming at her with everything. With her being able to hold off all of these forces, they start to bring in some heavy ordnance. With chaos happening everywhere, we see Mirror Master come in for the save, dropping them in the middle of nowhere, a desert with a deserted building. Picking us up a little bit later, we see Dr. Rodriguez and Rick Flag making their way to this location, and we are seeing just how fragile this team is. They haven't had a win in quite some time. Lacking any kind of funding, it's making things very difficult, and he believes that he has an idea, an opportunity that is going to bring them all the money that they are going to need. Their next mission comes in the form of Lex Luthor. The mission: kidnap Mr. Luthor. Alright gang, so as we dive into the final issue, we are picking up with the Suicide Squad sitting down trying to figure out how they are going to kidnap Lex Luthor. Many of them arguing that there are easier ways to get some money. We're talking about freaking Lex Luthor, who on the regular goes against Superman. And while yes, he mostly loses, at the end of the day, they aren't Superman. And while they all discuss this, the only thing Bloodsport truly cares about is getting rid of all of his brothers from across the multiverse. A kind of last parting gift from Amanda Waller. With them getting some kind of plan underway, we see Bloodsport's brothers put into action, getting them jobs at LexCorp. We see them working on the janitorial staff. Now, they believe that they only hired one individual, but since it's the same person from across the multiverse, no one seems to be noticing that the same individual is on multiple floors at the same time. This is their prequel to the plan. Plan A is Ambush Bug and one of these Bizarro Boy clones. They go charging in at Lex Luthor, and he is easily able to capture them. Bloodsport and Rick Flag also trying to take him down, unable to do so. Dr. Rodriguez, aka Sandwoman, tries to attack him at a golf course. One by one, we see the Suicide Squad get taken down, with all of them being rounded up. Lex Luthor goes to see what they wants to know why they are trying to capture him, with Rick Flag letting him know that Amanda Waller, she's gone, and Suicide Squad, they need funding. Now, Lex Luthor, he has to ask the question, why didn't you just ask me for funding? Never an idea that any of them thought Lex Luthor would be on board with. But in fact, this makes him very intrigued. A seasoned Black Ops crew made up of ex-supervillains. For Lex Luthor, that could be very, very lucrative. But the truth is, he doesn't want this pack of losers. At the end of the day, every single one of them failed in capturing him. Or at least so he thought. Noticing the janitor, seeing him on all the floors going down, thinking that his mind was just messing with him and playing tricks on him. The truth is, this one has Culebra inside of him. Culebra being a ghost, she possesses Lex Luthor. This was their plan all along. They all wanted to get captured. By being captured, they were able to get close to Lex Luthor, get all of them in the building at the same time, and have Culebra possess him, taking over his body and not giving him any options. Trying to get access to any of his accounts, Culebra needing to go into the bathroom while she's possessing Lex Luthor, saying that it's going to be fine, she has control, he is just very strong-willed. But it doesn't take long for Lex Luthor to push her out of his body, and in doing so, he is able to go put on his suit. Mirror Master, seeing this suit, recognizing that he has gone toe-to-toe with Superman in that suit, he's trying to get out of here as quickly as possible. But Lex isn't letting any of them escape. One by one, he starts cracking some freaking skulls. As everything is going sideways, the Suicide Squad is about to get beat. This is when they call in the big guns, using Ambush Bug to open up a teleport and reveal his latest trick. We see the mindless, rampaging Bizarro Boy clones. All of the ones that they recently got a hold of, they send after Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor pressing a button and able to encapsulate all of the Kryptonian clones. Unfortunately for him, his suit has been destroyed and the Suicide Squad is now standing over him, with Lex Luthor now being impressed with the Suicide Squad and their abilities. He lets it be known that you guys have like 2 teleporters on your team. It would have been much easier for you guys to simply go rob those banks than come up here and try to hustle me out of money. But he asked the question, how much will it cost for my freedom? And the thing about that is, the Suicide Squad, they never actually talked about a solid number. They talked about the idea of kidnapping him, but never what they were gonna get once they had him. And so Lex Luthor, he gives them a proposal. The Suicide Squad is back in business, as all of them are celebrating, going out and doing what they do best. Could this be the beginning of Task Force Lex? And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Having a 15-issue run, I gotta say, it was relatively enjoyable. I have had a lot of fun following this line. From the reveal that Superboy is in fact Match, Amanda Waller truly succeeding in walling off Earth-3. You know, love her or hate her, at the end of the day, she duped everybody. She came out on top. She created her Suicide Squad, Justice League. She took over Earth-3. The crime syndicate had been defeated. She took down freaking Ultraman. And obviously, she didn't do this on her own, but through her conniving, through her manipulating, through her ruthless tactics, there was nobody able to stop her. I am curious if we're gonna get stories from Earth-3. To be honest, I think that they'll probably sideline all of Earth-3, the Suicide Squad, for a little bit of time, especially with Dark Crisis on the horizon and everything else going on. But I have a feeling that we're gonna see this revival, possibly them coming back and working for Lex Luthor. Obviously, they made some kind of deal, probably gave them all the funding that they needed. We saw him most recently working with the president of Gamora, trying to create some kind of army himself. Not only that, we saw he was funding Batman Incorporated. He has been dabbling more and more in creating his own superhero teams. I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is that while the Suicide Squad, they're a really unconventional team, at the end of the day, they can usually get the job done. They were even able to overcome Lex Luthor, and that is not easily done. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by hitting the Super Thanks button. This button will let you donate directly to the channel, and every little bit helps us out. If you can't do that, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you like this video, and until the next breakdown.